let's go. Come on boys, it's time to put on a show. Caution's out, oh no, to the back of the pack is where we go. Slide jobs, slide ways is how we like to spend most of our days. Bump draft, bumper hook, we knew going in that's the risk we took. Pedal to the metal, we've got the throttle down. RTG rolling into your town. Smooth shifting, no lifting, we're not backing down. RTG, the best drivers around. No drama, race tough, keep it clean to the end might be enough. White flag, checker flies, out here with our friends living our best lives. Pedal to the metal, we've got the throttle down. RTG rolling into your town. Smooth shifting, no lifting, we're not backing down. RTG, the best drivers around. Race tough, keep it clean to the end might be enough. White flag, checker flies, out here with our friends living our best lives. Pedal to the metal, we've got the throttle down. RTG rolling into your town. Smooth shifting, no lifting, we're not backing down. RTG, the best drivers around. Pedal to the metal, we've got the throttle down. RTG rolling into your town. Smooth shifting, no lifting, we're not backing down. RTG, the best drivers around. Green flag, let's go. Come on boys, it's time to put on a show. Caution's out, oh no, to the back of the pack is where we go. Slide jobs, slide ways is how we like to spend most of our days. Bump draft, bumper hook, we knew going in that's the risk we took. Pedal to the metal, we've got the throttle down. RTG rolling into your town. Smooth shifting, no lifting, we're not backing down. RTG, the best drivers around. No drama, race tough, keep it clean to the end might be enough. White flag, checker flies, out here with our friends living our best lives. Pedal to the metal, we've got the throttle down. RTG rolling into your town. Smooth shifting, no lifting, we're not backing down. RTG, the best drivers around. Race tough, keep it clean to the end might be enough. White flag, checker flies out here with our friends living our best lives. Pedal to the metal, we've got the throttle down. RDG rolling into your town. Smooth shifting, no lifting, we're not backing down. RTG, the best drivers around. The metal, we've got the throttle down. RTG rolling into your town. Smooth shifting, no lifting, we're not backing down. RTG, the best drivers around. Green flag, let's go. Come on boys, it's time to put on a show. Caution's out, oh no, to the back of the pack is where we go. Slide jobs, slide ways is how we like to spend most of our days. Bump draft, bumper hook, we knew going in, that's the risk we took. Pedal to the metal, we've got the throttle down. RTG rolling into your town. We're not backing down. RTG, the best drivers around. No drama, race tough, keep it clean to the end, might be enough. White flag, checker flies out here with our friends living our best lives. Pedal to the metal, we've got the throttle down. Down. Smooth shifting, no lifting, we're not backing down. RTG, the best drivers around. Race tough, keep it clean to the end, might be enough. White flag, checker flies out here with our friends living our best lives. Pedal to the metal, we've got the throttle down. RDG rolling into your town. Smooth shifting, no lifting, we're not backing down. RTG, the best drivers around. Pedal to the metal, we've got the throttle down. RTG rolling into your town. No lifting, we're not backing down. RTG, the best drivers around. Green flag, let's go. Come on boys, it's time to put on a show. Caution's out, oh no, to the back of the pack is where we go. Slide jobs, slide ways is how we like to spend most of our days. Bump draft, bumper hook, we knew going in, that's the risk we took. Pedal to the metal, we've got the throttle down. RTG rolling into your town. Smooth shifting, no lifting, we're not backing down. RTG, the best drivers around. keep it clean to the end might be enough. White flag, checker flies, out here with our friends living our best lives. Pedal to the metal, we've got the throttle down. RTG rolling into your town. Smooth shifting, no lifting, we're not backing down. RTG, the best drivers around. Race tough, keep it clean to the end might be enough. White flag, checker flies, out here with our friends living.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Flatout Racing Network's coverage of the second annual Bones 00300 Memorial Race here for Rolling Thunder Gaming, as we get ready here tonight for not just one race, but 3 races, a main event and 2 qualifying races to get into the big dance. I'm Seth Cole, alongside of Kyle Matthews and Jack Mitchell. Gentlemen, obviously the circumstances leading to this type of a race, obviously we hate those circumstances, but last year we got the privilege of being a part of the first ever Bones Memorial 00300, which encapsulated the life and legacy of David Cannon, who unfortunately we lost early last year. This year, RTG has gone above and beyond to encapsulate others as well in the RTG and our 2003 racing community as a whole, pay tribute to them in this event. But to be able to get into the main event, you first got to qualify, and I'm going to start with you because we've talked with drivers on Thursday nights in the Talladega Challenge Series. They say that races like this are so difficult to win. It looks like right now we've got about 5 drivers that potentially could miss. So what would we necessarily expect to see in these qualifying races, specifically for those drivers that are running up towards the front, like top 10, top 15, guaranteed that they're going to make it into the big race?
Well, one of the things that's different from what they're used to on Thursday nights for the Talladega Challenge, they actually qualified. Actually, they go out and qualify for both of these, heat races. The Thursday nights, it's always set by random. The starting lineup is always set by random, so that's something they're not used to. But like you mentioned, there's going to be a couple of pit stops in this race. I need to keep that in mind and just go out there, try not to make any mistakes, and try to be there at the end. Hopefully, hopefully they can. They're not one of the 5, and they're not one of the bottom 5. Hopefully.
Now you mentioned about those pit stops, and that kind of was going to lead me into the question I had for you, Jack. I mean, we've seen so many times. Doesn't matter if it's a super speedway race, a short track, a 1.5-mile race track. We have so often seen pit road play just as much of a factor into the outcome of a race as what happens on the racing surface itself. 3x here tonight for 29 lap sprints. As Kyle said, at least 2 trips to pit road, execution on pit lane. The pressure's on, even in a qualifying race.
Yeah, it's going to be everything. And I will say these drivers might have a little bit less pressure to deal with when it comes to making those pit stops, knowing that there's going to be less cars on track, or less than 40 cars on track when they make those pit stops under green flag circumstances. But yeah, I mean, that still is going to be a lot of pressure on those guys. You don't want to be the one driver that messes up on pit road and ends up costing you a chance to transfer into the next race with such a small amount that we're maybe used to seeing for drivers that won't transfer into the main event. You really, really would not want to be that one guy that finds yourself on the outside looking in because you sped on pit road or you overshot your pit box. So execution off the racing surface is going to be just as important as on the track here tonight.
From our last count, we had 45 drivers based off the qualifying results from both the first and the second heat races here. Looks like 21 drivers in this first heat, so one driver will be going home in heat number 1. We had 24 drivers that were lined up for the grid in heat race number 2, so 4 drivers will fail to make the show in the second heat. The top 20 from Heat 1 and Heat 2 will comprise the 40-car field that we will be seeing racing later on tonight. And this, much like it was last year, a very unusual type of qualifying races, because you might think that we'd end up having heat race number 1, heat number 2 would follow at the same time. Not the case. Much like we did last year, we are, in memory of David Cannon, going to break out Big Red, and you are going to see we have a split screen here tonight where you are going to see both qualifying races happening simultaneously. You mentioned this before we came on the broadcast, Kyle, when we covered this event last year. Both heat races almost seemed to end at the exact same time. It will be interesting to see if that's going to be the same here in this one, but you never know because of the unpredictability of superspeedway racing.
Yeah, both races last year went caution-free. It went as smooth as it possibly could for us, thankfully, so it made it easier for us. And the main event, I want to say that went caution-free as well, or maybe had only one caution or something. But it was a very clean event last year. Hopefully we can see the same this year.
Sean Prime, the defending winner of this race. We'll be talking more about that when we eventually get to the main event. But you can see they had the servers synced right up to not only go to qualifying, go to the warm-up session, but also immediately here to grid up for the respective green flags. I think there was only about 2-second separation between these two respective servers for these qualifying heats, as Ken Roberts going to start on the pole position alongside of Rodney Sullins here in the first heat. It looks like over there in Heat 2, I'm trying to make out who the front row is there. Sean Prime's on the outside. I can't make out
Denny
who the other
Carroll.
one is. Okay.
I think it's Denny Carroll who's sitting on pole, and then Sean Prime is to his outside.
Drivers, start your
We'll get more of an idea once the cars actually start rolling.
Command to fire engines is given, and this brings up an interesting thing here as well, not only in these qualifying races, but eventually as well when we get to the main event races. Obviously familiar faces that we're used to seeing regularly on Thursday nights, but a lot of other drivers in the field here from other leagues, other organizations across the Enter 2003 community. So it will be interesting to see, will alliances be formed here in this race that could carry over from these respective heats into the main event?
I think you're going to need to have an alliance or something. I mean, this is super speedway racing after all. You're going to need a couple of drafting partners. So, yeah, I definitely think there will be some formed if there haven't been made already.
Hey, your friends are certainly where you find them when it comes to super speedway racing, and that kind of plays more into the pit road strategy that we were talking about earlier as well. I mean, you don't want to go into a track like Talladega and pit by yourself and be by yourself when you're making your way off of pit road either, because you're going to be left without the draft, and at that point, the only thing that can really save you is a caution.
I mentioned about how this event here tonight is in tribute not only to David Cannon, but we understand that David Cannon's family is watching. Want to send out continued thoughts and prayers to them, of course, as well. Earlier this year, we had the sad news that David's wife, Leanne, passed away late February. So certainly this is in tribute to her as well. And a bunch of other drivers, as I mentioned, that were a part of the RTG community that we'll be talking about during the course of the night through these heat races and the main event. Couldn't help but think of Bob Dixon as they were rolling off of pit road. Whenever we'd be lining up there, getting ready for the command to fire engines, always had the Bob Dixon key up, grid up, Griffins. I believe Ulysses Sandoval has actually taken that on, carried on that legacy every single race that he's been a part of. So great to see these drivers rolling off. Hopefully we see most of them be able to make it to the checkered flags here all in one piece in the hopes of transferring into the main event later on tonight. But 45 drivers in total across 2 races have 29 circuits to make here at Talladega Superspeedway. Both grids make their way through the tri-oval, and both heat races are underway here tonight.
It's a good start for Ken Roberts over at heat race number 1. He's going to get the lead from the pole in that race. They're side by side for the race lead in race number 2.
Gotta think that there's not that much of a sense of urgency with these drivers, big picture racing, and realizing that in order to transfer, you just got to keep the car really in one piece, and as we said, execute on pit road if it comes down to green flag pit stop cycles. So I gotta say, I will be a little bit surprised if we end up seeing them fanning out 3 wide, several rows deep here in the early going.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to do anything aggressive. Obviously, you get a completely fresh race car when you transfer over from your heat race to the main event. It's not like something that would be the case in real life, where if you wrecked up your primary race car, you would have to go to the backup or something like that. These drivers kind of have that luxury, but you definitely don't want to do something crazy that tears up your race car before we get to the late stages of it.
Heard that Michael Norman might be having pedal issues over in race number 2 here.
I don't think I see him in the lead pack there. So not necessarily what Michael needed right out of the gate. That's obviously going to lose him the draft. And, of course, as well, greater sense of urgency over there in Heat 2 with 4 drivers that will fail to qualify as opposed to 1 driver missing the show over in the first heat race.
Dennis McCarthy also looks to be off pace. Not really sure what happened, if it was maybe a separate incident involving those two. But, yeah, that's definitely, as you said, really big sense of urgency. These two are probably going to be in need of a yellow flag.
So Michael had a really good season in the Talladega Challenge, made the chase. Came up just a couple of inches short of winning his first race over there earlier in the season. So he's looking to carry some of that momentum into tonight's race, but not a good start for him so far. But luckily we are early on in this thing.
Got pretty single-filed out in Heat 1. The top 5, maybe 6, have been able to clear the inside line back to that neon yellow and black Ryobi Dodge of Rod Weston, as Ken Roberts, who started this race from the pole position, tucked right up in front of outside pole sitter Rodney Sullins. They're firmly in control of this race at this point in time, but again, much like we mentioned, pit road will play a factor a couple of times in these heat races, and for Ken Roberts here in Heat 1, Sean Prime over in Heat 2, they're going to kind of maybe be the Pied Piper of when those first round of pit stops are going to begin, because obviously they're getting the worst fuel mileage.
You see Sean Prime with that tribute scheme, of course, was the winner of last year's overall event. Just trying to go back to back, and will be a really good start for him by winning this second heat race.
That was a very, very emotional victory there for Sean Prime, probably the sentimental favorite heading into last year's race.
Oh, yeah.
And was able to take it home, looking to do the same thing 2 years in a row, picking up
There were a lot
where
of
he left
drivers.
off.
There were a lot of drivers I remember after that race too. They were saying that if they couldn't win, they wanted to see Sean Prime take it to victory lane, and they pushed him to that win.
I mean, you think
And
about
Michael
it.
Norman is out of the race.
Oh, wow. So Michael, with the mechanical problems there, the hardware issues with his pedals, that DNF means that he will not be transferring into the main event later on tonight. Tough break there for Michael. And that's the thing too, right? Like, we talk about the unpredictability of super speedway racing. You never want to, in a qualifying race or any type of a circumstance, you never really want your race to end with something that is out of your control in terms of a random engine failure or a mechanical failure Michael's having there with the pedals. It almost, I don't want to say that it's still not disappointing, but it's not quite as disappointing if you end up getting involved in a wreck at a super speedway, because it's something you actually come to expect.
Well, Michael, not how we wanted to talk to you tonight here, especially this early on. That really sucks, man.
Yeah, I have no idea. That could possibly, but I was perfectly fine for qualifying because I was up to speed in there, and suddenly it was like, how to explain this in a way that people with wheels can understand. Like, you remember in some wheels they have like a potentiometer that reads how much input you're putting into your throttle.
That word just hurt my brain. What did you say?
It's called a potentiometer.
It just hurt it again.
thanks to Zach Rogers and the old wheel that he used to have. I used to have a G29. It felt like I was pushing the throttle all the way down, but it was like it wasn't reading it. and I don't know what happened or how that happened on the start, but unfortunately, here I am with you guys.
To
So
explain it to those of you who are at home and watching and wondering what he's trying to say, it's basically like when your controller dies mid-game.
basically, or is dying mid-game.
I have never had that happen. Of course, I'm still new to using a wheel, but I've had my settings reset a couple of times, but never
Well,
mid-race
I,
or anything
I
like
think
that,
I
thankfully.
personally blame myself on it because I've had my wheel unplugged because obviously I move it out of the way when I'm actually on my computer, and I just plugged it in. But I also didn't what do you call it, calibrate. I didn't calibrate before I started, so that's probably why.
Well, I mentioned earlier about Bob Dixon. For those that don't know, Bob Dixon raced here regularly at RTG, drove the number 143. That number is now retired here in RTG. He was very popular for what was known as the factoids that he would give after the race, including the top 5 fastest laps of the race, as well as the lap leaders of the night. Helped motivate RTG to clean up grammar and redundancies in the RTG rules as well.
Clean up.
The Aero 88 Challenger Series was renamed in his memory, and of course, we do have here tonight his brother Tom Dixon in the number 45, just running here at the tail end of the lead pack, running one of those classic red, white, and blue STP paint schemes that we would see Bob run on a regular basis on that Chevrolet. As a matter of fact, Kyle, I remember us talking about this a couple of weeks ago. First race that you joined us in the booth to call for RTG, Bob Dixon went to victory lane.
He did. Yeah, that was his first and only win, I believe, in the Talladega Challenge. So over at when they were still running at BSR, Burnt Screwdriver. So yeah, what a moment that was to witness his first win like that.
Number of drivers you see over there during the second heat race. You see Bernie Mobbs in the 31 in a Bob Dixon tribute scheme. See a couple of cars here in the first heat race as well. Ulysses Sandoval in the 096, Bobby Farrell right behind him in the 2 car, also with Bob Dixon tribute schemes.
Bob Dixon also featured pretty prominently on one of the rear quarter panels of Jessica Loreley. She's running a tri scheme, if you will, a tribute paint scheme to several people that were involved in the RTG community.
It's a very cool idea she had, and the guy that painted it did a really nice job on that, I have to say.
You got David Cannon, his gold and black there on the front. And on the side that unfortunately you can't see unless they come around here over into turn 1 and 2, that's Wiley Coates' paint scheme on the side. Wiley Coate, of course, was, unfortunately before his passing, he was one of the admins of the Talladega Challenge Series on Thursday nights.
Had a lead change here in race number 2 as well. Josh Metallic has gone to the lead on the outside. You got Grant Wesley right behind him. And there's Cody Lamas.
Most recent winner
Q3.
in the Talladega Challenge, won the season finale a couple of weeks ago.
It's hilarious that he's up here right now. Considering we still have like 19 laps to go.
Well, Cody actually put down a qualifying lap. That's an unusual thing. All these drivers got the opportunity here tonight in preparation for these qualifying races to go out there and actually put down a qualifying lap. We normally see on Thursday nights, as you alluded to, Kyle, the random qualifying draw. Well, this was all because it was the mentality of David Cannon. He never wanted to see anybody go home. And so, in that spirit, they allow the drivers here in these heat races to determine where they start, and of course as well to be able to qualify their way into the main event, giving everybody a fair shot of being able to make the big dance.
Something I've
Got some pit stops.
I was going to say, we got radios lighting up over here in Duel 2, so I think we're going to have to see pit stops at the same time.
Wow,
Huge
that is
group of
practically
cars at all
everyone.
Fun.
David Little, the 083.
Oh, we got a
And there's
spinner
wreck
here
on
as
pit
well.
road.
Bernie Mobbs went around for a moment. Looked like he was actually the only one. A handful of guys actually stayed out, including the top 3.
Well, if I've done my calculations correctly, we should only see, if it stays green, 2 pit stops.
Correct.
So this is the first one.
That final pit
'Cause
stop
I
going
just-
to be in
I
the
just
final
wanna
5
throw-
laps.
And I just want to throw it out there too, throw him under the bus. Cody was talking about 3 pit stops. So Cody can't math.
You
I'm
know,
not going to
I
say
have no
anything because
room
I
to-
can't
I
math
have-
either.
I'm not going to argue.
I have no room to talk either, so that.
You know
As
what?
a
I'm
wise
glad
man
we're all on
once
the same
said,
page.
I am 50% of the time right, 90% of the time. Wow, that was close there. Rod Weston right across the nose of Ulysses Sandoval as those two, along with Javier Negron, stayed out the extra lap. They're on pit road now. And hopefully, Weston
Say,
and
these
Sandoval
two-
were able to get those cars woed up in time, because the last thing you want to do is take a black flag penalty.
These 2 smaller groups pitting right here in both races. See that's. I'd rather be with that group than that
Yes.
first big
Yeah,
group that
yeah,
came down
but
there in the first
I don't
2
know
races.
if you guys have noticed it before the pit stops, but I'm going to assume that with the lower amount of cars in the server, it seemed like the bottom lane was still definitely more of the dominant lane. I mean, we saw them were able to get up and pass on the outside, but like I've kind of noticed that they all seem to be bottom feeding a little bit, and I don't mean that in like a terrible bad way. I just meant like I just noticed that's how the groove of the racetrack is now that they've had their pit stops. I don't see them going 2-3 wide till closer to the end of the race or after that pit stop.
I didn't really
The next
see
one.
the middle line moving all that much. I was keeping an eye on it, and I think around the 6th position at the time, Randy Waugh,
Luigi.
he was leading that inside line, and they weren't really gaining, but they weren't really losing ground. The middle line still seemed to be pretty dominant.
Amongst the cars in the second group in race 2 that came to pit road, Grant Wesley actually won that race off of pit road.
Well, yeah, because
Are
the
we
guy
surprised?
Is just,
I was
yeah,
gonna
the guy's
say,
just a genius
in
on
Grant
pit road.
Wesley fashion.
He's just a little bit quicker out of the pit box than Josh Metallic was. They were pretty close to one another. It did allow McCarthy as well to catch back up to the draft, but the problem is he's now gone down a lap, so I don't think he's really going to be in any contention just yet. I mean, we'll see how things shake out. Mobbs as well went down a lap as the one that spun out on pit road.
Grant Wesley and Josh McCulloch, they were locked up in a tandem there for a little bit, but they've been caught there by the. Can't really tell how many cars that is down there, but a good amount have caught them now.
At least 5, I think. So we got a 10-car pack in the lead right now.
Tom Dixon just went a lap down here in the first heat race, and he is running in the 21st position. So right now, the 20 drivers that are in line to transfer are your lead lap cars. As Michael alluded to, we still got that second pit stop that's going to be coming up here. So Tom Dixon would certainly like to see a caution flag between now and the checkered flag. He'd be the only driver eligible for the lucky dog, get back on the lead lap, have a shot at a transfer spot once again.
It's
Now
the same
here's-
deal here,
Now
by
here's
the way,
a
as
good
well.
question: do you pit when the window opens, or do you pit just within the 5 laps?
I think going back to the mentality that Kaya was talking about, if I can get together with 5 or 6 guys that are willing to come to pit road maybe just after that fuel window opens, I think that's when I'm making the dive, because I think the majority of everybody is going to come to pit road when they're getting close to running out, all with the mentality of taking on a splash of fuel.
Yeah,
A
I believe
breakaway.
it's the same deal as in here in race 2. That the 20 cars that are on the lead lap and the 20 cars that are in line to transfer.
So guys, here's a funny broadcast question for you guys. Since they're running the races in tandem, does that mean we're going to interview the top 3 finishers in tandem too?
No, we're actually only going to be interviewing the race winners of these respective heats. We'll be talking to the podium
tandems?
finishers of the main event. No, not in tandems.
That would just be
You're
confusing.
giving us way too much credit,
It's
Michael.
where I ask the race winners the same question. They have to answer it at the same time and hopefully don't mess up. You
Well,
imagine
that-
that giving an
so,
interview
Seth,
while
what-
somebody else is giving
Seth,
an
what is-
interview? Oh,
What was it, that game on Who's Line where you had
Yeah,
to fuck
I
at the
was-
same time?
I was thinking the same thing. It sounds like some improv game on who's line.
I saw some people in our chat talking about these paint schemes that are also cycling here on this big red split screen featuring paint schemes run by those that this race is in tribute to. We already mentioned the name Wiley Coat. The name Wiley actually came from the Wiley Coyote, which was featured on many of his race cars. Wiley came from the Dega Pro League, where he ran the number 88, and Tim actually puts that into the 088 to this day in tribute to Wiley Coate. Wiley ran the number 6, number 20, the 81, and the 5. The 5 is currently retired from RTG. As mentioned, he was a longtime staff member of RTG, handled the duties on Thursday nights along with Tim Nofsker and Josh Metallic. Rodney Sullen's now a part of that admin team as we see him the leader here of this first heat race.
I approve of the Wile E. Coyote right there. That him and Wile E. Coyote and Roadrunner have always been my favorite Looney Tunes. So anytime I see them on a race car, I approve of it. So yeah,
Anybody
some
was
wonderful
looking
taste.
at if anybody was looking at Duel 2 there, I'm not sure what happened. Grant Wesley looked like he in the lead pack looked like they disappeared for a second. I think it was just a brief blinking issue on my end, but it looks like everything is all good now.
Got some drivers coming to pit road here, coming to 10 to go. McClure. Is that
Yeah, they've got
Nofsker,
about
Schilling,
3
Garrett, and Paglia all down pit road here.
There's about 2 or 3 laps, I think, left in the second room here. As they just put, I think, the 6 car a lap down now.
Talking more
like
about
they're-
Wiley Coate, I know this is something that you'll approve of, Michael. Apparently, he loved playing Call of Duty games, especially Zombies.
Oh, good. Zombies are great.
And apparently, he was also a part of the Tiger Woods Golf League that RTG also has as well.
I used to play that back on the PlayStation 2.
I had it on
I did
Nintendo
too.
Wii. That's a lot of fun to.
I'm trying to remember what year
I can't say I've
of
played
Tiger
it.
Woods PGA Golf I had for the PlayStation.
We had quite a lot of them, I think. Definitely the early 2000s versions.
I think mine was 2009. I could be wrong.
Find
Got
it
'em.
interesting. We saw them come to pit road for a second time over in the heat race number 1. They're still waiting for their second stop over here in race number 2.
9 laps right now. They've got 9 to go, and that should be able to get you 1 can. 1 can of gas gets you, I believe, 10 laps, if I'm
Nobody's
not mistaken.
thinking about making their way on the pit road right now, though. I don't see radios going off yet.
Yeah, they're from what Cody said, they had about a few laps left, so I would not see them in for maybe another. They'd probably be another 2 or 3 laps if they're actually just running this to come in whenever they can to get the least amount of gas.
I was gonna say too. I'm not sure these guys might try anything that drastic, even
Yeah.
when it comes to a move for the win or anything like that as well, because you're racing to transfer at the end of the day, and as long as you stay within this lead
Top
pack and
20,
you don't
yeah.
really make any mistakes on pit road, you're gonna be
it's-
fine.
Yeah, it's the top 20, and right now, with the 31 is a lap down to 0, so it's me, the 31, and the 024. I think will be the only ones that don't make it in. So honestly, at this point, everybody else is a shoo-in to make it regardless.
Well, speaking of the
Unless
transfer
unless
spots,
they count. Unless they count. A lot of people are a lap down. I'm the only one that's out of the race in Heat 2.
well, speaking of the transfer spot, over in Heat 1, David Little just hit pit road, and Tom Dixon went around him for the 20th position. I believe Tom still has to make a pit stop. Those 2 drivers might be the 2 to battle it out to see who's going to be the last one in, first one out, which it's kind of a shame in some respects. We already talked about the fact Tom Dixon, the brother of Bob Dixon. Well, another of the drivers that's being honored here tonight is Rusty Little, who is the younger brother of Dave Little. Rusty Little came from Dega Pro as well. Tool Pro Sim Racing, and was the founder and co-owner of Black Gold Sim Racing. He always ran the number 102. That number is retired. He actually created and set up RTG's Fantasy Racing League. He passed suddenly in 2019 after arriving home from work. Quietly loved doing setup work. He turned thousands of laps testing setups for Sean Prime and others over the years to make sure they had the best setups at the racetracks on a weekly basis, and always was known to respond with a patented "copy that" when acknowledging anything that was said in the team speak.
And it's a real shame that one of those 2 drivers are not going to make it into the main event right there. Just
Now they're coming to pit road in race 2. At least Cody is. Nope, here
Oh, a
it
bit of a
comes.
moment
Yep,
there
here-
for
yep,
Josh
here they-
Metallic.
yeah, Metallic got on the apron there for a split second, got back up in front of everybody. Everything's all good so far here in race 2.
That was Metallic State. Metallic stayed out an extra lap last time around, so we'll keep an eye on the 39 here as they get ready to make their way
It
to
would be
pit
interesting
road.
if he did, because I think everyone in his lead pack's coming. So if he stays out, he'd be by himself. He just likes to come in on the
He's pitting.
high lane, yeah.
Yep, top 6 from Heat 1 also on pit road this lap. A little more spaced out there for that group over in Heat 2, so a little easier for them to get onto pit road. Though give both groups credit from Heat 1 and Heat 2. That first cycle of pit stops, we only had a couple of single car loops. There could have been a lot more drivers involved with how many were coming to pit road in both heat races.
Oh, Grant Wesley was the leader going on the pit road, overshot his stall a little bit.
Half can. That's all you really need at this point. It's just a half can.
Look at Cody Lamas getting out ahead. And Grant Wesley, he might drop a couple spots too because he overshot his stall when he was making his way onto pit road. You saw Cody Lamas go by. I'm not sure who else. Handful of guys actually. Metallic, Joe DeSpirito, Lamas I mentioned, Jeff Supta.
Cody might be 4th overall. Who's the leader that stayed out?
Godfrey, I believe.
And he's pitting right now.
Ulysses Sandoval, Bobby Farrell just pitted from 1st and 2nd along with Javier Negron, so that should complete the cycle of pit stops here for Heat 2. Now it's about 4.5 laps to the checkered flag.
Palmer and Carroll. Not sure if they made their way on the road yet. They're currently being scored the top 2. They would be the top 2 this time by.
Need to remember, these are just races to make the show. Where they finish in these respective heat races does not indicate where they will start for the main event. They will actually have another qualifying session. So drivers that finish well here in these respective heat races potentially may not necessarily start up at the front in the main event race, and drivers that finish back towards the latter portion of the top 20, they may actually be able to improve their starting position when they get out and turn another 2 qualifying laps.
3 wide here on the back.
Yep, 3 wide on the back. These guys caught some and they split, which is kind of interesting.
Up that what's happening with Palmer and Carroll right now as well, because I think they were getting ready to make their way to pit road, but they can't do that in the middle of 3 wide.
No.
Jeff Supta's coming down pit road.
Was he speeding, perhaps?
I think Supta had a black flag.
Oh.
He looked awfully fast coming down pit road that time by 2. Hopefully he's able to get the car slowed down in time.
Getting shades of that Aero 88 finale race last season, Jack, when he was testing out those new pedals, championship on the line, and he ended up speeding on that first cycle of pit stops, never got a caution to battle back. Almost wonder if maybe that came into play with a hot entry onto pit road this time here at Dega.
Yeah. That would be
getting
an
awfully
unfortunate
racy
break.
over here in race number 1. Bob Seminara to the inside chuck floor. And
big
Bob saving a
save.
beauty right there for the 17.
Cody Lamas and the 41 had a moment.
I think these drivers up here realize that more than likely, even if they end up wrecking, they're going to finish inside of the top 20. So they're deciding to race it up here. Ken Roberts now on the top side. That's Tyler Mallon in the 20 right behind him with Jeremy Jeffries, Brian Schilling. 4 versus 4. Chuck McClure and Mark Paglia back there might be the difference maker into which line moves.
Also, that makes it interesting. I completely forgot that this was ×3, so those like 5 to go in half can. You're gonna dip a lot of it. So
exactly.
And they said the rumor that the 41 of Denny Carroll took only half a can, so there's rumors that he may not make it.
Oh boy.
And he's right here in this lead deck.
They're going to make their way, are the leaders through the trioval to take the white flag here in heat race number 1. Sullins and Roberts are by themselves. Here's Tyler Mallon with a move. Sullins goes up to cover, little contact. About 3 wide into turn 1.
Nearly 4 wide. We're getting the white flag here in.
And here we
they're
thought
single file. They're single file here in race number 2.
Yeah, they're a lot more tame right now.
Here we thought they were just going to take it easy. These are
Yep.
racers we're talking about. There's a checkered flag. They all want it.
There's a trophy on the line too, I believe.
That's
well.
true. There is a
not
trophy
this
if you win
Grant
a heat
Wesley.
race.
Is it if you win a heat race?
Yes, there is. We got that word from Prime earlier on tonight.
Grant
I
Wesley
heard
had to
him
look to
say
the
a
inside
trophy,
of Joe
but I thought he was
DeSpirito. There
only
he
talking about
goes.
the main race. Oh, there goes. Oh, but does he have any help?
Doesn't have it. Palmer going to stick
Oh,
with
he's
the
gonna have to
24.
pin.
Rodney
Oh,
Sullins
hang
trying to
on.
hold him off.
Heat
hold
1's
everybody
getting
off here in
spicy.
Heat 1.
Schilling
Here
to the
comes
top
Schilling.
side of Rodney Sullins. Looking photo
Schilling's
finish in
gonna
Heat
get
1. Give it to Brian Schilling.
Joe DeSpirito pulling ahead in duel number 2, and he's going to take this one. A lot less dramatic of a finish than we thought it would be, but the defending Talladega Challenge champion comes out on top in race number 2.
How about that?
Spirito, yep.
2 years in a row, 2 heat races going at the same exact time, and caution-free both times.
We got lucky again.
Got the green flag at the same time, maybe a couple of seconds in between. Got the checkered flags at the same time with a couple of seconds in between. And the Chevy bow ties sweep the heat races.
And how about the comeback in race number 2 for Dennis McCarthy as well? We were talking about him early on. He was about to go a lap down. He ultimately did go a lap down. It looked like he was well off the pace, but with everything happening to some other drivers, maybe getting some bad pit stops or things like that, he ends up being the last driver to transfer in.
Brian Schilling, Joe DeSpirito going to burn it down. I think one's going to do forwards burnouts, the other's going to do backwards burnouts, if I know these two. Joe DeSpirito has those patented reverse burnouts. And look at this, both of them going to be right in front of that decal here on the exit of the trial that's got all the logos in tribute of those that they've lost over the years here in RTG.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, didn't Schilling win the bracket challenge?
DeSpirito won the bracket challenge this past year. The year before that, the season before that, it was Schilling. So your two previous bracket challenge champions right there. Well, guys, that was just the heat races.
Now we got a main event to get ready for.
And now they're really going to be going for it in the main event.
So I believe that the driver that missed out here in this first heat race was indeed Tom Dixon in the 45. I believe over in the other race, from what I saw, I think it was Billy Elliser, Michael Norman, and I can't remember who the third driver was that I saw that was below that cut line.
Yeah, I did not either. They were pretty quick to send it back to the lobby here, so.
The top 20 in each respective race transfer their way into the main event. And we're going to be in the process of getting some stuff swapped over and ready for that main event, which will be 47 laps in total. So while we are waiting on that, of course, the RTG admins have to do the same thing. Let's see if we can dial up our race winners here tonight in the respective heat races. Let's kick things off with the winner of heat race number 1, Brian Schilling.
User was moved to your channel.
Hey, Brian, it's the guys up here in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Wild heat race here tonight, and I say heat race because you got one more race still coming up here, but some hardware on the line here this evening for the heat winners, setting a pretty good tone here as well for the main event coming up here. Photo finish at the line here as well for a heat race, half a car length, and you take the checkered flag. How much experimentation was going into this race in preparation for the main event, or was it just basically that driver's mentality that, hey, if there's a checkered flag and a trophy on the line, everybody wants to be the first one back?
Well, you know, my initial going into this race, I was just going to run conservative, which I did for the majority of the race. I ran on the low side, just kind of minded my own, P's and Q's, but it got to the end there, and I knew there were some guys a lap down, and we got to 1 to go, and it's like, well, I'm going to finish. I knew we were only there was going to be one guy that didn't make it. So it's like, at that point, it's game on. So I made it a little fun. I made it interesting. I feel bad I passed the Bones tribute car that Rodney was running at the end there, but, it's just one of those, want to make it interesting.
Obviously here tonight as well, we ended up having the 3 times wear in this heat race, and as usual, pit road playing just as much a factor into the outcome of this race as what happened up there above the double yellow line. We know that pit road's going to more than likely play a part into the main event as well. So how did it feel getting onto pit lane? No, you were part of a pretty big pack and then ran an alternative strategy on that final pit stop. Do we see some strategy like that, do you think, in the main event race as well?
Probably. I wasn't that first round of pit stops, I was like, man, this is a lot of cars. We need to do something a little different for the next one, just for on the safety side of, just having a clean stop, get through it, and, see what you have on the other side of it. So that's why we made a decision. Some of us made a decision there to pit with 10 to go, just so we didn't have a bunch of cars that we're trying to, miss or them miss us. It's more cars going on the pit road, bigger, chances for something bad to happen.
You mentioned about more cars. Each one of these heat races, roughly between 20 to 25 drivers. Obviously, there could be a difference in energy when there's about half a field as opposed to a full field that we're about to have. Now, I know that obviously your experience on Thursday nights with full fields is going to help you coming into this main event, but is it easy to kind of swap over from the energy of half a field to a full field here, just about, 15, 20 minutes separated from each other?
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's definitely, I'm used to it. Actually used to run a series on Tuesday nights. Me and Bones actually ran one for years called the Speed Freaks. It used to be Daytona, then we alternated Daytona and Talladega, and that was about 20 cars was about our usual car count each week. So, with helping run that series, I've well experienced with like half the car count of a Thursday. So it's nothing I'm not used to.
Well, a great run for you here to kick off the night, taking home the checkered flag and a trophy here in heat race number 1. Looking forward to seeing what you're able to do here in the main event. We'll let you get out there, do a little bit of practicing. Maybe there with some teammates that maybe you didn't get to necessarily work with. Might have been over there in heat race number 2. Before we let you go, though, Brian, floor is yours for thank you, sponsors, and shout-outs.
Big thank you, Sean Prime. Big thank you. This doesn't happen without him and all the work he put in. Rodney, Jeremy, Tim, all the other admins, Josh, huge part, and thank you to those guys. I just a small piece in all of this, but without Sean, this doesn't happen. Thank you, Chuck, for the push. This one's from Mike Scott. His logo is on there. He taught me everything about plate racing. It sucks not having him around. I can hear him talking to me at times when I'm trying to qualify, not doing a good job, and him yelling at me. But, and Miss Bones, I miss all the guys that aren't here anymore. Wiley.
Well, Brian, thanks for talking with us. Congratulations on the victory here in this first heat race. Best of luck in the main event coming up here tonight.
Thank you.
And let's see if we can also
User
now
was
get a
moved out of
hold
your
of
channel.
the second heat race winner. See if we can dial up Joe DeSpirito, driver of the number 24 car.
User was moved to your channel.
Hey, Joe, it's the guys up here in the FRM booth. You got a copy?
Hey guys, I got you. Yeah.
Oh man, I'll tell you what, here this evening, some heat races, kind of get yourselves locked into the main event, but also be able to do some experimentation and also get yourself a nice trophy as well. We ended up seeing things start to get a little bit interesting over there in that second heat race, but once you were able to get clear, it seemed like you could be able to control all the 3 different lines and bring it home first to the stripe. Can you double down here tonight with what you were able to figure out in a half field, now getting ready to take on 39 other competitors?
I'm going to try, definitely. It's going to be ramped up, and a lot of guys are going to be wanting to win, not points racing, so that turns up the adrenaline and the risk taking that people are doing. So we're going to find out.
How much experimentation went into that race? Obviously, with the field kind of split up, maybe not necessarily able to work with somebody that you're used to working with on a weekly basis, having to find some new alliances where there may be some people that you were working with that maybe you'll now be looking out for here in this main event race.
Palmer pushed me to the win there, so I appreciate him doing that, and so I'll be looking for him if he needs something here. But we were just kind of riding in line there for the most part. But yeah, we'll find out. There's going to be some crazy moves made in this race.
Obviously, as well here tonight, was really touching to see both you and Brian Schilling doing burnouts right alongside of that decal there at the latter portion of the tri-oval. Talk about a racer's mentality here tonight. We know we've covered races where, there's a playoff spot on the line, or there's a championship on the line. When it comes to a tribute race like this, just how much more motivated is a driver to get that checkered flag?
Oh, definitely. Everybody's wanting this. Again, nobody's holding back on points racing and all that stuff. So again, it being a memorial race, it'll be turned up. That it'll be just like last year. Hopefully, a controlled turned up to where people aren't making stupid moves. So where it's fun, but it's not too crazy, if you know what I mean.
Well, we were treated to 2 wild but very clean heat races in the qualifying of the now 40 drivers getting ready to participate in this main event. Congratulations on picking up the victory in heat race number 2. Looking forward to seeing what you're able to do here as you drivers get ready to head on out there tonight for this final race of the evening. 47 laps awaiting you drivers. Before we let you get back at it and do a little bit more testing before the green flag here in the main event, Joe, floor is yours for thank you, sponsors, and shout-outs.
Of course, this is all dedicated to Bones and all the fallen drivers. And, Bones was one of my biggest supporters and biggest pushers and doing this and helping me with qualifying and car files and everything. So he used to call me on the phone after hours and just talk to me about, how good I've grown and everything I've learned so fast here, and I always got to appreciate what he did for me on this sim. So want to thank him, and we go through the usual RTG, you guys at FRN, Tarnation TV, Race LM, Sullins Paints, Mobs Motors, and sponsor Old City Fly Shop, and Uncle T watching, LC, Dan, and all my work buddies. Thanks, guys.
Well, that is Joe DeSpirito, picks up the checkered flag here in heat race number 2. Now gets ready to go back to work, see if he can get his second checkered flag as he looks to take the main event here tonight in the Bones 00300. Congratulations on the victory and best of luck here in this main event coming up.
Thanks, guys.
User was moved out
So
of your
everybody
channel.
that was in those respective qualifying races all migrating their way to a single room here now in preparation for the main event. We will have a starting lineup for you here before these drivers end up taking the green flag, officially tell you who the 40 drivers are that are going to be participating in this 47 lapper. But I'll ask you guys before we go to a quick commercial break here, with what we ended up seeing right there in heat races, half the field. Now we're going to be putting all 40 drivers out there on the racetrack. Pit road will maybe once again play a factor, but the energy is going to be a lot different as well. And there's going to be drivers that are going to have to migrate their way from the back of the field to the front of the field outside of the top 30. Unlike in those heat races where, well, you were just outside of the top 15, maybe a little quicker path to the front.
Yeah, these races, I wouldn't be surprised if we finally see some yellow flags over the course of this race as well. Obviously, the energy will ramp up with 40 cars on the track, and yeah, execution everywhere is going to be absolutely important. And these guys are definitely going to need to really kind of keep their wits about them as well, because again, we talked about this as well with the heat races. The possibility still does exist. You're racing with some guys that you might not necessarily be used to racing, and some of those guys that you're not familiar with in the opposite qualifying race might have also joined you in, or might be joining you in the main event here. So, yeah, definitely a little bit more unpredictability going into this main event.
I definitely think the aggression is going to pick up too. I mean, we saw how close the finishes were in the 2 heat races. Now that we're in the main event here, they're going to be they're going to be pushing it just a little bit more.
Well, we ended up hearing Brian Schilling allude to the organization by Sean Prime putting this all together. He worked tirelessly 1 year ago when we ended up bringing you the first ever Bones 00300 Memorial Race, and he has been tirelessly, effortlessly working on this one as well. So want to echo the sentiments there in thanking Sean Prime for what he has done. He's provided us, the broadcast, a whole bunch of information. This information we've been talking about, all these different drivers, as well as David Bones Cannon that we've been in tribute here tonight. This event running for all those notes, all that information passed on by Sean Prime. Want to highlight a couple of more drivers here that this race is being run in tribute before we go to that commercial break and get you ready for the main event. I remember back when RTG first brought us on board for broadcasting, one of the individuals that I ended up doing a lot of corresponding with was Terry Bauman, who was one of the co-founders of RTG along with David Cannon. This race run in memory of his brother, Ed Bauman, who ran the 016. That number retired, was referred to as Ghost here in the RTG community. And also, you know how we've been running last season in the Amish Survivor Series, Jack? Well, remember that the cars that we would run into, the AI cars, were referred to as Larry's? Well, that's because the Amish Survivor Series was named after Larry Yeager Sr., a longtime member. He was known as Amish, hence the namesake of the series. Ran the number 66, loved short track and modified racing, which I think tells us quite a bit of all we need to know of why the racetracks on the schedule are as they are. I think pretty much all the racetracks that we ran that previous season of the Amish Survivor Series all were of the short track variety.
I think so. Just about all of them were, and yeah, definitely quite the entertaining time that we've had in that Amish Survivor Series. It's been a really good place for drivers to kind of unwind after the grind of a long race week. So yeah, definitely really nice to honor his memory here tonight with this race.
We will continue to highlight even more drivers during the course of this evening's festivities. The heat races are in the books. The 40 drivers have been determined that will race it out for 47 laps in tonight's main event. These drivers will get out there, set a qualifying lap, set the starting lineup. We'll have all that information for you coming up on the other side of this commercial break. Don't go anywhere. FRN's continued coverage of the second annual Bones 00300 continues right after this.
Hi, I'm with Fabric 83D. We create high-quality custom prints. From glowing numbers to unique trophies, check out this lightweight custom chain. Visit our website today. Ready to take your meals to the next level? It's time to top it off. Use code EOL15. Don't settle for ordinary. Visit our website and order today.
Engine coughs beneath the grandstand. Cold dirt kicks across the track. At Hallowdega, gates swing open, and the dead come roaring back. A rotten grin. Ghost cars line the pit road wall, waiting for the green to spin. A black flag snaps above the booth. No living hand is on the wheel. The starter drops the midnight cloth, and every phantom hits the steel. Hear that thunder underground. Feel the guardrails start to shake. When the moon climbs over Alabama, there's no slowing down the race. Only that the engine still rolls.
Welcome back, everybody, here to FRN's coverage of the second annual Bones 00300 from the Talladega Super Speedway. We have concluded the heat races. 40 drivers have now made their way into what is going to be a 47-lap main event to see who is going to take home the second ever checkered flag of the special memorial race.
And
We
he
talk
is free, Seth, by the way.
Okay, we are now free to be able to talk to a man that has gone above and beyond with the organization, the promotion of this event for 2 straight years. We're going to now dial up the previous winner of this event from 1 year ago as well. Let's see if we can get a hold of Sean Prime.
User was moved to your channel.
Hey, Sean, it's the guys up here in the booth. You got a copy?
I do. Cause me breaking Mr. David Day's chops in process.
I hope we didn't drag you in the middle of the driver's meeting there. We tried to time it here where you were available, but man, I mean, obviously we've already just talked about it. The work that you have put into this, not only in organize it for the drivers, but we also mentioned before we went to that commercial break, feeding us the information here on the broadcast side, making our job so much easier. Obviously, when an event goes green and you start to see the fruits of the labor there with the 2 incredible heat races we have, the main event coming up, what kind of a feeling does that give you with all the effort that you've put in?
Well, it's all for the guys we're honoring today, honestly, you know, and I probably drove you crazy giving you packages info and all those guys more than you probably want to handle, but you know, this event's been developing, and just, you know, first and foremost, just want to thank everyone that's contributed or shown up for such a special and meaningful occasion, especially you, Seth, for painstakingly taking the effort to deal with me and put all this stuff together. We try to keep it coordinated as best we can, though.
Going to ask you a couple more questions as the organizer, but I think one thing that a lot of people are wondering is you come into this event the defending race winner, an emotional, popular victory last year. What's the confidence level you can double down here tonight? I know that I think last season it was I want to say it was the NX20 mod, so now we've moved over to the Men Cup 2019. Obviously, super speedway discipline hasn't changed, but I think the racetrack has actually changed as well. I think we were running the V3 at that point and then swapped over to the V4 with the extended pit road. So are there some changes here that you have to adjust to, or can you kind of dial up that same game plan from 1 year ago and get the second checkered flag of this event?
Well, I'll tell you, I think we did run V4. I think we unveiled it thanks to John Godfrey and others to get it done for last year's race. But yeah, I will try to not execute my qualifying race strategy and speed on pit road when it mattered for nothing on the first stop. I'll do my best to, you know, configure my pedals. I've just been focused on the event and had to get the rust out there. So I survived. You know, it's going to be an interesting race as it is. I'm still thanking Greg Palmer. I had help definitely getting it last year, but it was such a like you said, an emotional honor. You know, you couldn't write a script for that. It was just a heck of a night, and just thanks to everybody, you know, for showing up, making this happen. You know, it's truly an honor and a labor of love and appreciation to do this event, to help remember these racers, contributors, and flat out icons, so their legacy of doing this thing that they loved for so long can carry on. I hope these drivers can put on half the quality of show that we did last year. It looked like they did in the qualifiers for sure.
Yeah, definitely gave us something to whet our appetites as a precursor of what to expect here with 40 cars strong. I want to talk a little bit more about the organization of putting this together, just to give people a little bit of an idea. I know obviously we talked about it last year, but here for this year, having gone through the process already, did it make it a little bit easier in organizing this second annual event, or was there a preliminary start months in advance here even for this one?
It's been on my mind, honestly, the whole darn time. The earnest work, I think, started when you and I got together, made sure we confirmed the date and that everything that was to come. It's a special thing. It's becoming apparent to us that it will grow to include not only the names we have here on the grass here, but others that brought forward to us, that are brought forward to us and hold a special place to them, or made a contribution to make this community what it has been able to be for all these years. We've added 2, I think now 3 actually, names this year. Mike Scott, Bill Townsend, and Oh my God, somebody, Freeman, the last one was put in. I apologize for not having more information on that. Just want to thank the whole group here again for coming together as we're getting to qualifying. Everybody in this community comes together in mass to help pull this event off. It's not just a one-person operation; it's the whole team here. You know, the 3Js: Jason, Josh, Jeremy, the entire staff. It should be exciting. Special shout out to a couple guys, you know, I lean on for a lot of the old cars that I rendered and made for this stuff, and getting up all these personal details for you to have to deal with. And that's Terry Bauman, Brian Schilling, and Tim Nosker helped me out a lot with that stuff. And everyone contributed something, and will be tonight as well.
Well, we're looking forward to seeing what the rest of this evening has in store. Again, just not only for FRM, but for everybody as well. Thank you for the hard work that you've put into putting this event together for the second straight year. And hey, best of luck out there. Maybe be able to go back-to-back here and taking home checkered flags in the Bones 00300.
I don't think that was in the cards. I'm just happy to be here. I'll give it the best, and like I said, try not to make a catastrophic mistake again, and hopefully only hurt myself. So, yep, have a great race, have a great broadcast. Thanks to all these guys showing up. They're going to put on a great show. I know it.
Absolutely. Well, that's Sean Prime, chief organizer of this event for the second year in a row, defending winner of this race. And these drivers are just a few seconds away from getting ready to head out and qualify. You heard him mention a few names right there. We're going to be highlighting those drivers here in just a few moments, but we've been, during the course of the evening here, prior to, during, and after the heat races, highlighting a number of the drivers that are being honored here tonight in this memorial race, along with the namesake of the race, David Bones Cannon, to name a couple of others that this race is in honor of. Preston Rook Boone, who is being remembered more for his love of golf at RTG than racing, was a part of the Tiger Woods Golf Group, which is actually now named for him. When he did race in racing, he raced as the number 2 car. Another driver as well that was maybe known a little bit more for something outside of racing here in RTG was Fred Hill, who was the owner of TNT and Hold'em Racing League Series at RTG. As you can probably guess, Hold'em, he was a passionate poker player as well, also raced modifieds. His league became known as the STR Sim Racing at RTG, which is now defunct. However, you saw them run the second heat race here tonight simultaneously with the first heat race. They were using the STR server, which is still maintained by RTG. He was a great conversationalist, could talk to you forever, very detailed in RTG League meetings, and loved Wall Stadium, a track that he lived near in New Jersey. A friend of ours, Nick Gunther, actually lives close proximity to that racetrack as well. So a couple of other drivers that are being honored here tonight in this Bones 00300 Memorial. But now, guys, I'll talk to you in terms of a driver's perspective, because we basically saw in both the heat races, really it was relatively calm, drivers realizing pit road was going to be a determining factor, and then once those pit stops were in the rearview mirror, they were ready to let loose. It was time to go. Seems like maybe we'll see a little bit more of that here tonight in this main event, but there's a lot more cars on the racetrack, so easier said than done.
I think it's really going to, I think one of the big factors here, you talk about, pit stops. And we touched on this a little bit during the 2 heat races. I think a big factor is going to be how many cars come down pit road whenever they come down there for the pit stop. I always say, Thursday nights during the Talladega Challenge, I think I mentioned it during the heat races as well, that I would rather be in a much smaller group of cars. The less cars, the less likely there is to be an incident on pit road. So I think, I think that's going to play a big role in the race tonight if we do have green flag pit stops.
Yeah, I can't agree. As being in the first race myself, it's going to be interesting to see how this race plays out. We saw the commercial for it, but this is going to be interesting to see what can happen, because with 47 laps, that's what, about half the distance? No, not even half distance. It's just what, like 10% less of a race than a traditional 66. So
three quarters of the distance of a normal Thursday night.
And I forgot, is it back to 2x or are they still doing 3?
It is back to 2x.
Okay, good. That's what I thought. So then a pit stop every 20 laps. Give or
And with
take.
a smaller field as well, that's something that we noticed happening in both heat races that Kyle touched on, is the fact that there were drivers spinning out, making mistakes when they were making their entry on the pit road, and that's just going to even be more likely when you have a full 40 car field too. So you're going to want to do your best to try to stay out of trouble. Maybe pitting within the smaller group is the right method that some of these drivers really want to go with. And yeah, I mean, execution again just has to be as perfect as it possibly can be.
And think about what's at stake here tonight as well. We hear just about every Thursday night when a driver takes a victory in a Talladega Challenge Series race, just how hard they had to work for it. Those races do not come easy. Those race victories do not come easy, and those drivers realize it. Here tonight, there's no points on the line. There's no championship on the line. It's a memorial race. Only one driver can claim the checkered flag. Everybody here tonight is going to more than likely, once we get into that 5 to 10 laps to go range, they're going to have that mentality of bring home the steering wheel or bring home the trophy. It's going to make decision making even more crucial. Oh, and by the way, that's at 190 miles per hour, more than likely double and 3 wide in the closing stages.
Yeah, these drivers certainly are going to be under a lot of pressure to try to get that job done. And as you said, checkered flag at the steering wheel for a lot of these guys. And yeah, there's no prizes on the line for second place. So these guys are going to be going all out to try and find this checkered flag. And that's kind of the one thing as well, is that assuming this does in fact become a yearly tradition, you kind of get to carry yourself as like you were the person that won this race, and you have that tied to you for pretty much ever. And it's like, we spent the whole broadcast talking about how Sean Prime so far was the former winner of this race, and someone else could very well be the second person to do so, assuming Sean doesn't win again. So you really want to have that accolade tied to your name.
It should be interesting to watch. I really wanted to participate in this, but, stuff happens. But it's going to be fun to watch up here from the booth with you guys to see what's going to happen and how exactly things are going to play out.
Now it does look like, as we're going to bring things back to live, we're going to show you the cars out here on the racetrack as they are going to be pretty close to getting ready to grid up for tonight's main event. But just doing a little housekeeping in terms of those heat races, it looks like one of the drivers that we had listed that was going to miss making the show, that being Tom Dixon, it looks like he actually is going to be in the field here tonight. He and David Little were fighting for that 20th position in Heat 1, and it looks like both of them are in the server and going to race. This is just a preliminary list that I had, that I believe that these are the drivers that failed to qualify. We obviously know the hardship for Michael there with the hardware issues of the pedals. I believe that the other 2 drivers that failed to qualify were Bernie Mubbs and Billy Elliser. I do not know if there was a 4th driver over in the second heat race or not, but it looks like we are going to actually have 41 drivers that are going to take the green flag in tonight's main event, not 40.
I believe that's because they reserved a spot in case one of the admins were not able to make it. Well, if all the admins made it, that opened up that last spot.
And I believe all 10 of the admins did make it. There were 5 in the first heat race, 5 in the second heat race. So to your point there, you would be correct then. Yes, that final and 41st position looks like it did go to Tom Dixon. So we were talking, Kyle, about, it would be a shame if we ended up seeing siblings of 2 of the individuals, Bob Dixon and I just blanked out, Rusty Little. If we ended up seeing their siblings not participate in this race, looks like we're not going to have to worry about that.
Yeah, happy to see both of them in the field right here. It's, go out there and honor their brothers in this race. And so very fitting that both of them made the show.
So, Michael, I'm going to ask you this because, you've been a regular racer on Thursday nights in the Talladega Challenge Series, and granted, with the random qualifying draw and not being able to really determine where you start, you've kind of been all over the place in the starting lineup from the front of the field to the back of the field. Yeah, but I want to ask
been
you,
in the front of the field like once.
47 laps. It's not a short race, but as you pointed out, it is expedited from the normal 66 laps. Is this, with it being a shorter race, is this a race where drivers were able to go out and qualify, where starting track position actually is a good thing, since there is not that extra 19 laps to fall back on?
Well, I mean, you still have roughly about the same amount of cars racing, so it really doesn't matter where you start. As it says, it's going to be about where you can position yourself, and if you can put yourself in the right line to make sure that you go to the front if you're in the back. But it just, personally speaking, starting at the back is a real pain in the butt, because you have to, obviously you have a really early pit stall, so you can't hot pit as aggressively as everybody else. And by everybody else, I mean Josh Metallic. But
wow, called out.
But it's going to be a struggle regardless of where you start, in all honesty, because even starting good, you have the very risk chance of something happening to you and you go straight to the back. Or, and vice versa, you start terrible, pick the right line, and you're up at the front in 5 laps. So it's hit and miss no matter where you start. But personally speaking, I like either mid-pack or closer to the front, because you have a chance to actually be able to hot pit and gain spots doing it without having to slow all the way down and hope to God that you don't get run over.
I find it interesting here. We talk about Sean Prime, defending winner of this race. We talked to him moments ago. Well, he went out there, put down a flyer of a qualifying lap, 51.934. He will be leading us to the green flag here tonight. And I couldn't help but glance over with this shot that we've got at the end of pit road. He's got that number 1 pit stall, and obviously the last name Prime. He has Optimus Prime on the pit sign. That seems a little apropos with the news that we ended up getting that yesterday. At the age of 85, we ended up losing the legendary voice of Optimus Prime, Peter Cullen.
Yeah, probably not the circumstances that he was hoping for, but or that any of us were hoping for, rather, for that regard. But yeah, definitely, it's been a tough week, to say the least, in terms of
tough
the
month.
world. Yeah, it really has. It's just been a tough year as well. If you want to talk about like just the names that we've lost, like in the racing world in general as well, names like Michael Annett, Kyle Busch, Greg Biffle. It's just been a really, really rough go of it as of late. So some tribute there for John Prime. I mean, I see the Autobots logo, the Optimus Prime logo on his pit stall in his car every week as well. So yeah, just unfortunate losses around the world as of late, and we certainly send our condolences to everyone.
It's things like that make events like this mean all the more. I mean, we talk about it all the time when we end up seeing these memorial races or races for a cause, the sense of community and coming together that we see, not just in RTG, but across the entire Enter 2003 community. And obviously it I don't know, it has a bit of a more special meaning when we end up doing broadcasts like this. Not to take anything away from, regular weekly series, championship races, one-off team events, all that kind of stuff. But when it's got something behind it like this, it just kind of seems to have a little bit more meaning behind it. And I think for these drivers as well, gives them that little extra motivation of, as you mentioned, wanting to be the one that comes out on top with the victory, to be able to carry that for not only the rest of the year, but also for the rest of their lives.
Yeah, in a sense, it's almost like winning the Daytona 500 in real life. I mean, drivers that win that race, that victory is kind of attached to their career for the rest of their lives, and it's one of those things that it just stays with you, and there's that extra meaning carried behind it. Maybe you're running just a decal on your car, or maybe you're running an entire paint scheme dedicated to somebody who meant a lot to you in this community. So it's a big deal for these guys.
I want to make sure that we get every single one of the names that this race is being run in honor of. And a name that many, if you've been with us here over the years at RTG, would be very familiar with, the name Robbie Nisus. Ran in multiple leagues, including here in RTG, more specifically in the Talladega Challenge Series. Was known by just about everybody in the under 2003 community was known as Bandit, ran the number 54. That number also retired here in RTG. Had a ton of racing skins, but his Mr. Magoo truck was the quintessential truck that everybody knew and was widely popular. He was famous for always posting in the chat during a parade lap, "Good luck from Wichita." We remember seeing Robbie Nisus racing season after season. Another driver that we ended up losing during our tenure here with RTG. So another driver that you also would see featured on that decal right there in the center of your screen here through the exit of the tri-oval. And speaking of making an exit, Jeremy Jeffries just exited over the pit wall into the infield there. Drivers having a little bit of fun here before the tense white knuckle racing that we're about to see.
Exit stage right, apparently.
Just shows you what their mentality is as well. They're out here having fun, goofing around on pit road. There's a bit of a burnout going on as well.
Cody Lama sticking a shot there, but
yeah, I mean they're calm and collected before they have to, turn the intensity up.
That's going to change very shortly.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
But the funny thing is, when we end up seeing them, we're nervous for them when we see them double and three wide. They're not all that nervous. It's normal for them, so. That's what makes the racing so good, because of the comfort level these drivers have of racing door to door, bumper to bumper around this racetrack. Not at all nervous with taking it 3 wide. We have on occasion seen 4 wide work here as well, depending on where it is on the racetrack. Don't think that we might not end up seeing that at some point during the course of this race as well. Looks like happy hour is just about to run out. And these drivers now, the levity of happy hour about to come to a close. It's time to pull down the visors on the helmets, strap the belts, and get ready to go to work for 47 laps of racing. 41 drivers going to take the green flag. They will roll off of pit road in this order. The defending winner of this race from 1 year ago, Sean Prime, will lead us to the green. He'll have the Heat 2 winner to his outside in Joe DeSpirito. Robert Breedlove and Josh Metallic, they'll be in row number 2 with Jeff Supta, Bob Seminara, row 3. Denny Carroll and Chuck McClure are going to be row 4 with Rodney Sullins and Randy Waugh.
Luigi.
Going to be completing your top 10. Now, Kyle preempted you. You didn't get that one this time,
sorry,
Michael.
my mic was
Be
muted.
faster.
My bad.
Grant Wesley, Kelly Causey, they're going to be back in row number 6. Row 7 finds Brian Schillen and Javier Negron. Mark Paglia, Milt Surratt in row 8. Row 9, Doug Hulick and Donnie Garrett. Ken Roberts will complete the top 20 in the 10th row with Robert Spring. Back in row 11 finds Jessica Loreley and Tim Nofsker. David Little and Greg Palmer in row 12. Row 13, Jeffrey Goodpaster and Rod Weston. In row 14, David Day, Chris Elliott. John Godfrey will be back in the 15th row, completing the top 30 with Bobby Farrell. In row 16 finds Glenn Harris alongside of Doug Cady, Tyler Mallon and Jeremy Jeffries. In row 17, they were the last drivers to take time. The rest of the field going to be set up by random qualifying draw. You'll find the 18th row with Brian Rawson and Cody Lamas. Row 19, Mike Mangialardi, Ulysses Sandoval, Dennis McCarthy and Brian Wolf. They will make up the 20th row with Tom Dixon in the 41st and final starting position, I should say. Michael, you said, doesn't matter where you start, it's where you finish. If you're in it, you can win it. Any one of those 41 drivers named off, we could be calling their name taking the checkered flag at the end of 47 laps.
Wow, I sound smart.
You surprised
I don't know
yourself.
about you guys, but this race to me, it has a bit of an all-star race kind of feel to it. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Two, heat races to start, try to set the field here, or to set the not really set the starting lineup, but to set the field, for this race, and got those out of the way. Now it's time for the main event.
I mean, this race is being held in place of the regular RTG Speedway and Super Speedway All-Star races that we saw between the last 2 seasons as well. So, this is kind of a bit of an appetizer for these drivers as well, and a good warm-up as well, because I think it's next week when we see the opening races for season 69.
Really good point. Yeah, just a week removed from this evening, we will see them take the green flag to kick off season 69 of the Talladega Challenge Series. So might be a bit of a warm-up here for these drivers in preparation for the start of that brand new season.
A nice
here
season.
tonight, it is all about the Bones 00300. Who will be the winner of this race? Will Sean Prime be able to double down? Will another driver add their name to the very short winners list of this memorial event? We remember David Cannon and all of the fallen here across the Enter 2003 World in RTG. Green flag is in the air. The main event is underway. Saw quite a bit of anticipation there on that outside line. Might have stacked the field up a bit, and look how separated that inside line was.
Yeah, that inside line really disintegrated at the start there. You see only about 4 cars leading that inside line right now. Sean Prime jumped up to the outside with Joe DeSpirito. They were on the front row. They're currently going to be first and second right now.
Robert Breedlove, Jeff Supta, Brian Schilling, our Heat 1 winner there on the bottom, along with Mark Paglia, trying to get some more numbers. It's a few car lengths back to Doug Hewlick, the next car on that inside line, as Sean Prime, from the pole position, jumped up in front of Joe DeSpirito off of turn 2. He led the last lap 1 year ago, leads the first lap of the main event here in 2026.
Feels a bit fitting as well. You want to take the title of the defending race winner away from Sean Prime, you're going to have to take it straight from him.
Already seeing 3 wide there, just outside of the top 10. Kelly Causey, Ken Roberts, Jessica Lorley up there, trying to make something happen. Grant Wesley has jumped down to the front of that inside line, in front of Robert Breedlove, that blue and orange NOS Energy Dodge, currently alongside of Chuck McClure for the 6th position.
You know, Grant Wesley would love to find victory lane in this one as well. I mean, you talk about the last season of RTG, all those series that run, you know, throughout the week before the Talladega Challenge.
Look at the big wreck in the back. Several cars up and over. Many spinning down to the inside of the racetrack there. Cody Lamas, Jeremy Jeffries, Jeffrey Goodpaster, Bobby Farrell as well. Doug Cady. I thought I saw a couple of cars up on their roofs. Maybe they only got over onto their sides, but caution flies nonetheless. Well, we went caution-free in those 2 heat races, as you alluded to, Jack. More than likely, we weren't going to see that here in this main event race. Yellow flag coming out as the leaders were crossing the line to complete lap number 2.
Yeah, with 40 cars on the track, right? I think 41 cars now on the track at the same time. It felt a bit more likely that we were going to see a yellow flag, and that is indeed what happened.
Looks like some trouble in the tri-oval. Let's look at the 18 of Jeffrey Goodpaster. Contact there with David Day. Oh, and yeah, he does get up and over. It doesn't go completely over, just onto his side after the contact from Cody Lamas. Almost looked like maybe a little misjudgment, like he thought he was going to be clear to tuck down behind that Ollie Chevrolet, that Wiley Coat throwback.
That's what it looked like to me. I mean, it could have been another case, too, where some drivers are just kind of fighting for the same piece of real estate. Yeah, you can see, too, there's like a slight gap ahead of the car that he bumps into on the bottom. It looked like he tried to fill that gap in and wasn't totally clear.
Like maybe Brian Rawson got into the back of Jeremy Jeffries. That's what spun him around and clipped the 2 of Bobby Farrell. Doug Cady went for a big slide. We saw Cody Lamas take that shot into the door of the 18 as they were exiting out of the tri-oval. Not necessarily certain with some of these hits. And we know obviously when it comes to super speedway racing, it can be kind of finicky. With damage sustained, could still be up to speed, could have you a couple miles per hour off the pace and straight line speed. Hard to tell there with some of those impacts if any of these drivers are going to, right out of the gate, find themselves with potential aero damage for the remainder of the main event.
I'm a little bit concerned with Cody Lamas right there. Looks like he got into the 18 there pretty good. No visible damage, but like you said, it can be very finicky here.
Doug Cady, we saw him go for a slide. I thought he actually had it saved, but he did make some contact nose first with the inside wall. This is on board with the 48 of Cody Lamas. Pretty good shot to your point there, Kyle, with that left front. We'll have to wait and see if they can make some repairs there.
Don't forget, they are shortening the cautions.
Correct. Of course, Cody, as we alluded to back during that the heat races, the most recent winner in the Talladega Challenge Series, winning the finale race of season 68. Certainly, we mentioned about this being a racetrack that you could build momentum towards the start of season 69, almost kind of a stepping stone from the previous season to the new season, not the way that Cody wanted to get things kicked off here in this main event race. Now, I am doing a quick double check here. I mentioned about 41 drivers on the grid, but it looks like only 40 rolled off of pit road and took the green flag. It does look like Tom Dixon, who would have been in that 41st position, it looks like he did not actually take the green. So it is 40 drivers officially that are participating in this main event race here tonight, as I think this is going to be the final time pit road is open, and some top-offs.
Yeah, some differing pit strategies here. Looks like about half a dozen cars or so coming back down pit road.
So Sean Prime looks like he'll inherit the race lead back here after Brian Schilling and others come down pit lane to get a little bit of extra fuel for the upcoming restart. Kind of interesting too, I would have thought initially that with it being 47 laps, it'd be a little bit more difficult to strategize for this race since you're so used to strategizing for a 66 lap race. However, if you do the quick math, 47 to 66, that's 19 laps. That's a fuel run. So basically, you're just eliminating one fuel run, which might make it easy for these guys to be able to do the calculations necessary if it comes down to pit strategy. Well, one thing about tonight as well that's so cool to see is the number of tribute paint schemes that we have all the way throughout the field. Another driver that's being memorialized here tonight in this event, Dan Yeager, also known as Dano of Dano Skins, longtime excellent sim vehicle painter who did skins for many drivers across many leagues, created his own Pro Cup Series mod and all of the skins that go with it. He's also the co-owner of Excel Racing League, and we talk about all the great painters that we have here in RTG. Bernie Mobbs of Mobbs Motors, Rodney Sullins as well. A lot of talented painters out there that we get to see these liveries featured throughout the multiple seasons. Doesn't matter what night it is, Monday night, Wednesday night, Thursday night. We get to see these schemes, these liveries in all their glory, and of course, really cool to see a lot of the tribute schemes here tonight in this special event.
Absolutely. That's something I feel like we talk about quite a lot, is the really good painting ability of a lot of these people in this community, and you're definitely seeing some of it here on display tonight.
Looked like a little indecision there by Sean Prime, which line he wanted to restart in. He was on the top, then swapped to the bottom, back up to the top here again. We'll see if it's the right choice here as he gets ready to put lap 7 of 47 on the board. Joe DeSpirito, who was to his outside on the initial start, now to his inside for the restart.
Looks like Bob Seminara didn't get off to a very good restart right there on that outside line, the second car up there, and that's going to hurt Sean Prime on this initial restart.
Yeah, he did not have as much of a push, and now the inside line quickly going to get up to him. You see DeSpirito making his move to the outside now.
Josh Metallic getting a good push there from Chuck McClure on the inside line. Might go right to the lead.
Big
Chuck
shove
McClure,
there from Sean Prime to
Grant
Joe
Wesley.
DeSpirito, though.
Ken Roberts all on that inside line right there.
A little more spread out here than the initial start. Saw one driver back there, way outside of the top 20. Looked like they might have been shading 3 wide. That was David Day. No help. He's going to start falling towards the back of the pack. Is up at the front. Pretty organized side-by-side racing. More cars on that outside line than the inside line. Again, a lot of space there on that inside line. About half a car length from Wesley back to Roberts, a full car length from Roberts to Robert Spring, and then 2 car lengths back to Glenn Harris.
Yeah, not as organized on that inside as they are on the outside. That is for sure. See Spirito, Prime, Seminara, Carroll, Wah, and others up there on that outside. Pretty well organized. Not sure what the issue with the inside line is right now.
Spirito going to cross the line. Now we talk about on a weekly basis the importance of leading laps, getting bonus points. That's out the window here tonight. However, a lot of drivers will tell you that maybe a little safer from getting involved in the dreaded big one if you're at the front. And speaking of the big one, I might have just spoken it into existence. Had about 3 or 4 cars spinning down to the inside wall, make it 5. Sullins, Garrett, Wolf, David Little, and Greg Palmer. And that did not bring out the caution.
Wow.
Yeah, they spun to the inside part of the track right there, out of the racing surface. That is a tough break for all of those guys involved right there. You would think a multi-car accident would easily bring out the caution, but right out of the driving surface, we stay green.
Yeah, off the racing surface at the back of the pack as well. Every car managed to keep it going as well, so there was no yellow flag brought out. And as you said, Kyle, tough break for all those guys that are.
That's honestly just a big time frustration for a driver when that happens.
I mean, you expect a caution to come out when you see about 5-6 cars involved in the wreck like that. You think that you're going to be able to have some time on pit road to recover your car. You'll you might lose a lap, but at the very least you'll be in sync with the rest of the field. And now,
oh my!
Wow!
Well, that will definitely bring out a yellow. John Godfrey.
That is literally like the entire field.
Oh my goodness! I thought that Randy Waugh ascended. John Godfrey went about twice as high.
John Godfrey just treated this racetrack like the airport that's right outside of it.
Gracious!
I've never seen a car fly up as high as that.
As we were watching, I just saw the 18 Javier Negron. That's a lot of damage on that car. I'm sure he's done for the day. I just saw the 18. Maybe Arc braked a little bit.
Well, that was the caution that those 5-6 cars that wrecked a lap ago needed.
Well, here's the question: who's left that doesn't have damage?
It might be a shorter list than those involved. That's the car that I initially saw get out of shape, the 21 of Randy Waugh.
Luigi.
Glenn Harris with a lot of damage. There's roof damage on Kelly Causey's Budweiser Chevrolet. David Day's got damage. I mean, there's a bunch of them. I mean, this is going to take a ton of replays to be able to compile a complete list of all that were involved. And this was right in the center of the corner. We talk about it all the time. Center of the corner or in the trioval, 2 of the toughest type of wrecks to avoid, because you don't know when you come upon the wreck where the cars are going to be migrating to. They could go up the racetrack to the outside wall. They could be coming down the banking to the apron.
That's as
I feel like
dangerous
this
as
could
it
have
is
been could this have been a bad bump or a little bit of bumper grab, because you can see the car.
Oh, check up.
Yeah,
checked up.
Check up as well.
Oh,
look at Godfrey.
And there
Where?
He got suplexed.
You say look at Godfrey as soon as he exits out of the frame.
Well, exactly.
I want to see, where was Cody when this happened? There he is.
Reed Love I just saw there. Chris Elliott, a lot of damage.
We should definitely look at Cody Lamas' on board, because I'm pretty sure he missed the wreck in a spectacular fashion.
We're going to be looking at a bunch of different
I
angles
feel
here. I
like-
want to get a camera focused on the 7-Eleven because
Oh, I'm sure you do for various reasons.
that
He went
I agree
up-
with Kyle. I think that's the highest I've ever seen a car fly at Talladega. And
He
I've
went
seen
up and
I've
then-
seen cars fly, but just not to that height. I mean, look at this.
Oh my.
I've never seen an elephant fly.
He went up and then just didn't go down. He got flung forward, I think, by the car that was flipping right underneath him.
That was
just
Javier that was
the
underneath
7-Eleven
him.
even higher.
There's Mike Mangialardi. There's Robert Spring, Jeffrey Goodpaster, Dennis McCarthy.
96 there too, Ulysses.
I think we're better off naming who didn't get any damage in this
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, that happened right at the front of the field. So, like, I think the front 6, maybe 6, 7. Shut up! I did not mean to say that. Shut up.
I would say maybe 8 or 9 drivers were ahead of that.
Robert, is that 74 Spring, right? He just had no clue that was coming.
Man, Robert Breedlove also
wow.
went up into the air back there.
To your point, Michael, yeah, Cody Lamas did actually manage to
Avoid it in a spectacular
avoid
fashion.
everything. He slowed down
I'm sure
in
he
time.
had a good view of the 7-Eleven flying to space.
Go on board with, and there's a couple of drivers I think we need on boards with that did really good jobs getting through this wreck. This is what Cody saw.
And there he goes.
Cody just came to just about a complete stop right there. Very smart move on his part. And
See that?
The 18.
yeah,
Saw that orange car there on the outside line. That was Milt Surratt able to get by alongside the wall. Doug Hewlick, who you saw just make his way by Cody when the wreck was happening, he was able to make his way down to the apron and get through all of that. And talk about having the wreck right in your lap. This is on board. Watch 2 drivers. We're going to be on board with one, but watch the driver that we're on board with as well as the driver just in front of her as well. Jessica Lorley, Rod Weston. Watch just how close they were to getting in this wreck.
Kind of on the outside by themselves. Obviously, from this angle, can't tell if anybody's right behind them. My goodness.
Like
He just
literally the
barely
last
got
2 to
them.
get through.
A little bit of a wall
Just-
slap.
I was gonna say, she got a little bit of a wall.
Yeah, a little bit of a wall slap, and that shouldn't even be a lot of damage.
No, compared to what
I was
happened
going to say,
behind her,
with what some
absolutely
others
not.
had, that's nothing. You'll take a wall slap.
Should we go on board with Godfrey?
Is the camera going to
I
survive?
don't know. Do you want to go to space?
Does somebody
Because
have the Tom Petty, I believe I can fly? Because,
That's not Tom Petty. That's Tom Petty's free falling.
oh, wow, that's complete opposite. Well, he free fell after he ascended, so I guess that kind of makes sense.
Ground
I believe
control
that was R.
matrix.
Kelly that did. I
That's what
believe
we'll
I
call
can
this
fly from Space Jam.
Oh my.
There he goes. Look, it's space, guys. No, 3.
The camera lived.
Seth, 3 words you never want to hear from me. Want to go to space?
Want to go to space? Oh my
Those are the
goodness.
4 words.
Shut up.
That
I
has
didn't
to
ask you.
that has to be the highest I've ever seen a driver fly at Talladega. That
Yeah,
might be a
at
record.
Daytona, I've seen it before at Daytona. I've
All right,
never
well,
seen it
let's
like
see
that
how
at
many people
Talladega.
are out of the race now because I'm curious.
Right now, according to scoring, there are 5 drivers out of the race. 4 of them due to the wreck we just saw. David Little, we saw him come to pit lane. He was involved in that 5-car wreck off of turn 2 on the back straight. We had a lot of left side and rear end damage. He retired out of the race before this caution came out. The 4 drivers caught up in this that have retired from the race: Jeffrey Goodpaster, John Godfrey, Robert Breedlove, and Javier Negron. Basically, 3 of those 4 were the ones that we saw ascend up above the top of the catch fence.
Now you only have to imagine what could possibly happen next.
You also got to wonder, those drivers out of the race sustained the most damage, but there were a lot of other drivers involved in that wreck. How up to speed are those drivers going to be? How good were the repair jobs? Will they still be competitive for the rest of the night? As Joe DeSpirito was the leader at the time the caution came out, he's the control car on this restart. Lap 14 up on the board.
Another good launch stuff for the outside. Sean Prime going to be dead even with him through 1 and 2.
I know we're only on lap number 14, but we talked about, qualifying doesn't really matter where you start. Well, I think qualifying has mattered so far here. Joe DeSpirito and Sean Prime started on the front row, and they've been your top 2. I think this whole race so far. Like I said, I know we're only 14 laps in, but qualifying really paying off for them. They were able to be out in front and stay out of the wreck so far.
Yeah, I'm taking a look here at a lot of our front runners right now. Prime, Despirito, as you mentioned, on the front row. You got Grant Wesley, who was 11th. Chuck McClure, who was 8th. Denny Carroll, who was 7th. Seminara, who was 6th. These are all drivers that were just ahead of where that wreck broke out. So at least with that second caution, qualifying definitely did matter here tonight for those drivers.
I think Josh Metallic has led a little bit of this too, but he got a good qualifying spot as well. So.
Yep, 4th. Just taking a look as they make their way down the back straightaway here. You can see some drivers back there are losing the draft. Glenn Harris in the 8, Dennis McCarthy in the 024. I saw Brian Wolf a little bit further back there as well. Kelly Causey, Mark Paglia. Also saw Milt Surratt pulling out of line there in the back straightaway. So those might be a few of those drivers that are dealing with the damage sustained from that wreck. Might be a couple miles per hour down on straight line speed, and now might be hoping for this to continue to be a race of attrition to keep their hopes of being in the running for this checkered flag.
I already have a third line forming right here. Jessica Lorley leading that group right there. She's got Brian Schilling, one of the heat race winners there, Doug Helick in the 23 as well. Now Tim Notzer's thinking about jumping out in front of them along with Chuck McClure, and they do that.
Inside line got completely abandoned. Grant Wesley, Josh Metallic looking behind them, wondering where all their help went.
Well, the 88 can move up right now if he wants to, but he's going to stay down there with the 39 for the time being anyways.
Do have a couple more drivers out of the race. Looked like they were trying to feel out their cars, see if they were going to be up to speed, remain competitive. That last time by, Kelly Causey and Brian Wolf brought their respective Chevrolets to pit road, made the left-hand turn to the garage area. They're done for the night. Also can add in another driver to that list here. Just double checking real quickly. Or no, correction on my part. That's still the 18 of Jeffrey Goodpaster. We do have the 21 car of Randy Wass still scored in the race. I'm not sure if he's out on the racetrack or not. It appears he is not. So he did not officially retire, which is why our scoring is not showing it. But he is out of the race as well. So that brings the total, at least for the moment, up to 8 drivers that will not reach the conclusion of this second annual Bones 00300.
One of the cars that we saw way back there already was Milt Surratt. We talked about him, falling to the rear of the field right on that restart. Guess he knew the car wasn't going to be completely up to speed. Just didn't want to, be in anybody's way right now. So as you see him running back there by himself, or at least in that second group of some slower cars.
Well, we talked about drivers that qualified well and were able to be ahead of that massive wreck when it happened. How about a couple of drivers that started at the rear of the field and were able to make their way through unscathed? You're looking at the 6 of Brian Rawson, the 48 of Cody Lamas right behind him. Brian rolled off the grid from 35th, Cody from 36th, and right now they are both knocking on the door of the latter half of the top 10.
Ooh, Cody wanted in there, but Grant was already there to fill in the gap. Just shoving the heck out of the one of Jeremy Jeffries. Now we're going back to what looks to be could be the side-by-side 2-wide, double wide thing that's going to let the middle lane there take full stride there. But as you see these drivers, they're just moving around all over the place trying to pick which line they want to go with.
Jeff Supta with the move to the inside here on Denny Carroll. Can actually pass him for that 6th position. Tries to get alongside of Bobby Farrell for 5th. Now here comes his help in the form of Jeffries, Lorley, Wesley, and Metallic. Had those 5 drivers that spun off of turn 2 prior to that massive wreck over in the center of 3 and 4. A couple of them on that inside line working their way back forward. Rodney Sullins in the 38, Greg Palmer in the 22.
I was about to say, look at the 38 who was involved in that first wreck that didn't bring out the caution. You look at him back up here now.
Yeah, I think really out of that 5-car wreck, we weren't able to go back and look at a replay of it, but I think that the 3 drivers that sustained the most damage, mentioned about the damage on David Little, there was rear end damage on the back of the 22 of Greg Palmer, and rear end damage on the back of the 77 of Donnie Garrett. Rodney Sullins got away relatively unscathed, though it did take him a little bit longer to get his car refired. So all of those drivers were saved with that caution coming out. And all 5 of those drivers with that incident off of turn 2, obviously you don't want to be involved in any wreck, but it at least kept them out of the vicinity of that massive wreck that happened just a couple of corners later.
Chuck McClure trying to force it on the outside. Now the 41 as well kind of looked low. We could have looked at a possible 3-wide scenario, but they're going to back out of it for the time being.
You talked about Kyle Milserat backing out of the lead pack there, falling to the rear, not to hinder anybody. It looks like he has brought his car to pit road and taken it behind the wall. And you just saw the 28 of Mark Paglia get bypassed. I think he's actually coming down pit road as well. That car well off the pace. We'll see
if close he's... call right there. The 28, they had to take a abrasive action to get by him right there. Thankfully, nothing happened.
We'll have to see if he's going to just make repairs and come back out on the racetrack, or will he also be done for the night? We're currently sitting at 9 drivers behind the wall as we approach halfway in this main event.
What I'm wondering about right now is the 41 of Denny Carroll. We saw him leading that inside line, but just really couldn't make up in a whole lot of ground right there. It looked like... don't know if he was holding him up or what, but you see him stuck in the middle right there with no drafting help. Don't know if he's quite up to speed or what.
Normally that middle line is the line that moves, but when you don't have drafting help, as we see right here, that is the proverbial sucker hole.
Yeah, nothing you can do when you're stuck in the middle line, not getting any help, so he needs to try to pick some up. Nearly got into the 20 car there. Now he'll get into line. Coming in the slow process of trying to work his way back forward.
And now Bobby Farrell, that STP number 2 machine, going to get put up there in that middle line as well. Going to be interesting to see here for Bobby Farrell. We ended up seeing him last couple of seasons driving the number 92. This might be a number change for Bobby Farrell heading into season 69 across the 3 series. So it'll be interesting to follow up that. This might be a debut of that new number here this evening in the special event.
Yeah, it's the same sponsor. We always see him in the STP colors and carrying that same sponsorship, but just a different number. Tell you what, Joe DeSpirito and Sean Prime, they had a game plan tonight. Start up front, stay up front. They've been here this whole race so far.
Bob Seminara right there behind them. Had Ken Roberts, who was inside as they were approaching the start-finish line.
Big run.
Car, I'm impressed with that car, that third car on the inside line right there. Jessica Lorley, semi-retired now. We don't see her out there, every week like we used to. Just comes out, runs these special events, and she's making her presence felt inside the top 10 right now, trying to get into the top 5.
Yeah, as you mentioned, running park time. Oh, we got trouble!
Oh boy!
Chuck McClure into Sean Prime.
Oh, that's everybody.
Massive wreck once again. This time in the tri-oval. Last year's winner involved, Novsker, Doug Hewlick, Bob Seminara, Bobby Farrell, Chuck McClure, Jessica Lorley involved as well.
My goodness.
Looked like maybe a block a little too late by the 15 of Sean Prime through the tri-oval. We'll go back and take a look at a replay there, but the 2 areas of the racetrack, as I mentioned, that are the most difficult to avoid a wreck have been our 2 biggest trouble spots, our 2 biggest spots for wrecks here tonight. The corner in the middle of 3 and 4, and now the tri-oval on the front stretch.
I mean, definitely a lot of people involved in that one. I think the biggest name that you mentioned was Sean Prime there, was kind of at the epicenter of that one. Actually didn't look like there was too much damage on that car, surprisingly enough, but might have to spend a good amount of time on pit road fixing it up regardless.
I'm not sure what that was.
I think it was like he moved up there to the top. He didn't look that stable, and there might have been a chain bump right behind him when cars kind of braked in reaction to that.
The bumpers were not even for the 15 and the 17. I think the 17 got him in the right rear quarter panel.
Had a request there from Jessica Lorley from Bob Seminara. If we can go on board with Seminara, get his perspective from the truck.
Yeah, we will definitely do that. Let's get an aerial view first here, just to kind of watch and see. 15 almost looked like he's clear when he makes the move up.
He was. I think the
Yeah.
17 didn't think so, though. It looked like the 17 kind of moved up in response to that.
Didn't look like much of a hit, though, from the 17 to Prime. That was interesting.
I'm not sure why the 17
Also
moved up.
Just heard that that Sean Prime says it could have been his internet had something to do with that, too.
Take another look at it here.
To me, watch the 17. It looks to me like he goes up even further.
Yeah, he's trying to find a lane by. Gets into the
think
wall.
he got
That
enough.
stalls his momentum. That puts Novsker into him.
Probably just chalk it up to a disagreement between those two cars, for lack of a better term. They just weren't really sure what lane to go in, and ultimately that chain reaction at the front of the field.
This is it in slow motion, just one more time, then we'll take that on board with Seminara. It looks like McClure, he sees space
There's a
for
bump
a car.
actually from behind. McClure
Yeah.
got hit.
You know, he had Tim Novsker right behind him. Just
Yeah.
a little bit of a chain reaction, it looked like there. Just a little bit of a shot from McClure into Prime, and Prime had it saved.
It looked like McClure got bumped from behind by Novsker when that happened.
Doug Hewlick, Grant Wesley, Ulysses Sandoval, saw them on the bottom of the screen there. Rod Weston was in the middle of it. Not nearly as wild rise as we saw back during that first big one over in 3 and 4, but another incident pretty close up there to the front of the field. I think that our last two cautions have been incidents inside of the top 10. Here's that onboard with Bob Seminara. Shadows of Fire Chevrolet.
Nearly kept it straight. I think another bump from behind is what sent him around again. Oh, wow. I think he kept it out of the wall, actually.
Yeah, I don't think he hit anything right there. What a save there from Seminara.
And right in the middle of the racetrack, too, when you're hearing those engines coming in, you're just thinking, just hold the brake, hold your line, hope they migrate their way around you safely. Well, pit road is open. And the timing of this caution is
close.
Very interesting.
I heard they're going to be about a lap and a half, 2 laps short, maybe.
Yeah, we're going to go back green here. You see the lights out. Be 20 laps to go. So, yeah, we know that the average that these drivers get is about 19 laps. We have seen drivers be able to stretch it 20 laps. I think there have been some drivers hard saving that we've seen on rare occasions be able to get 21 laps of fuel, but that will not be a luxury for the drivers up here at the front of the field, specifically whoever ends up emerging as the race leader, which could either be Joe DeSpirito or Ken Roberts, depending on this upcoming restart. It appears that everybody involved in that incident have come down pit road, made repairs, returned to the racetrack, all still on the lead lap. We've got 30 drivers still running at this point in time, as we will approach 20 laps remaining in this main event.
Everybody is clutching, too. You can hear that on the 24, keeping in the 4th gear, just on the clutch the entire time. They are be very, very close on fuel, as we mentioned.
And a wild night here this evening. We got treated to caution-free heats that qualified 20 drivers from each heat into this 40-driver main event. Well past the halfway point into the home stretch here of the second annual Bones 00300. As Joe DeSpirito, I know it doesn't necessarily mean much because there's no points on the line, but he has led 15 of the completed 26 laps, about to lead lap number 16 here as he gets us back underway. The big question is, was that our final caution of the night? Do we see this special memorial race come down to fuel mileage?
Well, it has all the look of it right now, but see
I
how
have
this
returned
plays
from
out.
the commentator's room. What did I miss?
You missed a big wreck.
Rather large wreck. Sean
who did
Prime, the defending race winner, was involved in it.
Who all did it take out?
Nobody. Everybody involved, still running.
Well, they made it easier on us when there were two of us producing and showing off the races
True.
from the qualifying section, and now that we've gotten down to the main event, all has broken loose in some portions of this race, but really definitely still has that feel of checkered flag or steering wheel for a lot of these guys.
It very well could come down to fuel mileage there. They were about a lap and a half, 2 laps short, possibly. So something to keep an eye on there, Michael. You know what that's like when these races come down to fuel mileage.
Yeah, I really do, and it's not always the easiest thing.
As we wait to see what the next flag's going to be, whether it be the caution or the white flag, I want to highlight a few more of the drivers that are being memorialized here tonight in this Bones 00300. Some names that you heard Sean Prime list off when we were talking to him during the course of that break in between the heat races and this main event. Mike Scott raced at RTG from his home league, East Coast Thunder, known as ECT. That league still is running. Ran the number 46, a Navy veteran who loved Talladega Superspeedway. Brian Schilling has on occasion said that his fuel-saving skills were learned from Mike Scott, as well as his qualifying abilities. He was an admin for the SiriusXM NASCAR Talk 24/7 page as well.
Wow.
And who knows? Brian Schilling, who is still in this race, second position, he might be calling upon Mike Scott and that fuel saving that he was taught to maybe pick up this victory here tonight.
That's a name that I'm not familiar with, but he obviously must have been one of the best when it comes to fuel mileage. Everything from what I've seen from Brian Schilling in a lot of these races. I mean, so sounds like Schilling learned from the best right there.
See Rodney Sullivan's third on that inside line. Number 38 car. Part of Burnt Screwdrivers Racing. We, of course, ended up seeing Burnt Screwdrivers Raceway alternate with Talladega Superspeedway for multiple seasons of the Talladega Challenge Series. Another of the names we're memorializing tonight, Brian Freeman, who was an original Burnt Screwdrivers Racing member. So Rodney Sullins, you got to think that he's motivated here tonight to try and pick up the checkered flag for Brian. And the final driver that we have on this memorial list, another that you heard named off by Sean Prime earlier tonight, William Bill Townsend, also known across the community as Bad Rash or Peter Gunn. He ran the 01, but had some iconic schemes as his alter ego, Peter Gunn, in the number 7. Peter Gunn was an old school TV private detective from the late 50s and 60s. That's what he took his moniker from. An Army veteran, ran briefly at RTG, but was deeply connected with many at RTG via his prior leagues. Came from Dega Pro, was a principal and webmaster for Tool Pro Sim Racing and Black Gold Sim Racing, responsible for Sean Prime actually joining Enter 2003 League Racing and being known at the time as Optimus Prime. An Enter 2003 painter extraordinaire, created his own templates and some amazing skins for many drivers, including some of the rusty little ones that have been shown during the course of this evening's race. In his later years, he lived his best life traveling with the NASCAR Cup Series as the lead for Camper Inn's RV's mobile medical team. And I remember seeing a post a couple of days ago. We've listed off a lot of drivers here tonight. You mentioned, Jack, about, I'm pretty sure they have plans of this being a regular annual thing, and from what I understand, the list to memorialize drivers will be even greater next year, as they will be memorializing drivers far and away outside of the RTG community, encapsulating the entirety of the Air 2003 community in the 3rd annual Bones 00300.
Yeah, this entire community is doing a really good job of putting on this event now in its 2nd year, and yeah, it will be good to see everybody kind of come together. Again, the circumstances are very unfortunate. Obviously, a lot of names that have been very tough to see go over the years, but it is really good to see the community come together and hold this race to honor everybody's memory. And kind of the one thing that I've always admired about NR 2003, how this community is now 23 years old, and it has continued to get stronger over the years. People are still finding new things to do with this game. People are still finding new ways to get involved to this day, and everything just continues to get bigger and bigger up to this point.
And with the drivers we've gotten to know, whether it's seeing them on the racetrack, talking to them in the booth, or even getting on the racetrack with them in series as well, I think we can safely say a general consensus that we do not want to see that list get bigger between this year's event and next year's.
Absolutely.
See, Jeremy Jeffries jumped up to that outside line to try to lead that group on the outside. He's got Greg Palmer right behind him. I believe that's Rod Weston in the 19 right behind Palmer.
Yeah, I think I actually misidentified Rod. So used to seeing him out there in a Dodge. I believe he's in a Chevrolet actually tonight in that Ryobi Camaro. And that outside line, they've got momentum. Look at the surge they were able to get from the middle of the back straightaway into turn 3. Jeremy Jeffries went from side-by-side for 3rd to now alongside for the race lead. He might actually be clear for the top spot by the time they come back to the stripe.
It's because half the inside lane moved up to the middle lane behind the 41.
It's a bit of a gap right there from the 41 of Denny Carroll back to the 77 of Donnie Garrett. Not sure what happened there. I don't know if it's just what Michael said. Some of these guys moving up to that outside line, but that's created a huge gap right there.
For now, those 4 cars on the inside are in front, but down the back straightaway, these guys should get enough momentum to kind of clear for the time being, and we'll see if Jeremy Jeffries holds that spot in the middle or if he maybe makes his move to the bottom.
Yeah, saw a little slide to the left there out of Jeremy Jeffries. I'm not sure if he got a bump going into the corner there by Palmer or if he was thinking about jumping down in front of DeSpirito and second-guessed himself, not sure if he was clear.
10 to go.
Well, he was clear that time. Jeremy Jeffries tucks down in front of Joe DeSpirito. Now Greg Palmer going to be the lead car up there on the outside line. One thing I'd be wondering about there for that 22, I mentioned that he ended up getting some rear-end damage from the incident that didn't bring out the yellow off of turn 2. Does he have a car that's strong enough to lead a line, or is he one of those cars that has to have somebody in front to push? It looks like right there, the outside line was pretty well formed. And Greg Palmer, I think he does have a car strong enough to lead. He's going to try and get up alongside of Joe DeSpirito for 2nd place through the tri-oval.
He's definitely good enough to push. We saw him push Jeremy Jeffries right to the lead. And he doesn't seem to be holding up that outside line any, so he might be good here in terms of damage.
Got 29 drivers up in this lead pack right now. The only driver missing is Glenn Harris, who has lost the draft. Got a lot of damage from that big one. Oh, there goes Dennis McCarthy, Ken Roberts, David Day. Brian Schilling spins to the inside.
Oh,
no yellow yet.
The inside wall hard.
That's going to be a caution right there.
Now
As McCarthy.
He came back there on the racetrack, but no one's... There it is. Okay,
yep,
so
now
no
the yellow
coming
comes
after
out.
them.
It came out a little bit later than I thought. I probably should have, honestly.
Well, that's going to take fuel mileage out of the equation.
Yes, it is. Big hit there for David Day. Ken Roberts, that car... I think that car might have gone up and over. It's got roof damage. Either that or he must have hit that inside wall a ton.
Yeah, and that was I think he's taking it behind the wall or called a tow truck. I think that could have started with a little bit of bumper grab, I think.
Saw Dennis McCarthy, a lot of back-end damage as
That was
well.
the first car I saw go around was at 024.
Been an up and down day for Dennis McCarthy too. He was a lap down in the qualifying race he was involved in, and ended up being the 20th and final driver to race his way in. There was a
he got his back tires.
He
lifted
really
up off the
did.
ground.
I wonder if
Oh,
there was
man, what a
something a
hit
little
for-
more
Oh,
untoward there,
Josh
because
Schilling.
There's where
yeah, that
Roberts
wasn't
got
just
his-
a bump. That lifted the rear tires off the ground.
Schilling
And
looked
then,
like he
like
had
you
kind of
saw,
a hard hit there as well.
Ken Roberts, he hit the inside wall roof first. I don't think he ever fully flipped, but it was
man.
roof first, and that was big time.
I think there's contact between.
I don't
Oh,
think
no,
I've
it was-
ever seen a bump draft like that in NR.
Oh man, he got it right in the corner too. You see that part of the wall where like it stops bending and goes back straight.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever seen a bump draft like that in NR where it lifts the tires up off the ground. Like I really
that's-
I don't think I've ever seen that before.
I mean, it would have made sense if McCarthy was checking up, but I think there was space in between him and the car in front of him. I want to watch the telemetry of the 024 because does it not look like he's losing speed right there?
Yeah, he goes from like 190 something to 188. I think right. Like if we let's do it in slow motion and look, because it really did look like he was beginning to lose speed. Like maybe he blew up or something.
Engine, yeah.
That's what
I
I'm
was thinking.
wondering.
Engine
But I
could have
saw.
See, he's
watch
going 195. He's not even really gaining on the 6 right here. He goes up 196, 195, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, that's. There's
Yeah,
no way the
that could be why.
55 generates that much of a run by himself, I don't think.
Yeah, that looked to be a potential issue with the 024.
It might happen too fast, but maybe we can try and listen into the 024 of Dennis McCarthy, see if maybe we can hear something with the engine.
Yeah, well,
It just sounded like a lift, right?
That's what it sounded like to me.
That was
Not really
that was
sure
odd.
why he would have lifted when you're boxed in the way he was. I don't know.
I mean, he got the car refired and drove away, so it couldn't have been an engine failure.
I don't think it was. Just a bad timing on that lift, perhaps. I don't really have no idea what. Maybe he thought he was gonna bump into the car ahead of him. I don't know.
I'm not sure either. That one's a weird one because like we said, the rear tires of the 024 lifted up off the ground after the contact from Ken Roberts.
Really a big question mark over that one, but we're gonna get what is more than likely our final restart of this race.
Lights are still on, even if they
So,
go off this time by. We're going to be looking at a 5-lap shootout.
I think they said they were doing shortening the cautions, but so they in race reporter, or not in race reporter, but the person I talked to said that there was no indication or no message about blowing up. So
Yeah, because the 024 drove away from the wreck. So if it had been an engine failure, McCarthy would never have been able to make it back to pit road under power.
So you notice how we haven't seen a lot of cars come down pit road because now clutching is taking into effect. But could just 1 or 2 laps of caution really help?
Oh, yeah.
Guess we'll find out.
Oh, yeah. I think they're
Could
good to make
McCarthy
it now.
could McCarthy been trying to save fuel in a way? Maybe. That's
Maybe
what
trying to clutch. Whatever the case, what we just saw right there is going to take both Dennis McCarthy and Ken Roberts out of this race. Going to leave us with 28 drivers left in the running. 27 of them, I believe, are going to be up to speed. We mentioned about Glenn Harris. He's still soldiering on, but that car is not up to speed. And it will be a 5-lap shootout to determine this race. And yeah, it will be interesting to see, as you mentioned, Jack, maybe the final restart of the night. But if we end up getting a caution on the first couple laps here of this restart with the expedited yellows, they might be able to get another restart in. If we end up traversing closer to lap 45, then I think it's definitely in the territory where next flag is going to end the race. Trying to remember back last season, I don't think, maybe I'm remembering wrong, did Jeremy Jeffries have a win last season in the Talladega Challenge Series?
I don't think he did.
I don't think he did either. And we talk about this race maybe being an opportunity to build some momentum for next Thursday night when that brand new 69th season goes green. Jeremy Jeffries, if he can win this event, what momentum would that give him going in one season removed from a winless season in the Talladega Challenge Series?
Not even just that, but it gives you good morale going into the next few weekly series as well. You got Bare Bones going on next week. You got iRacing starting up as well. Obviously, a different simulator in the iRacing series, but even still, it's gonna feel good to end up in victory lane just less than a week before you take the first green flag of next season in Bare Bones.
Yeah, Gateway for Bare Bones, Darlington for iRacing. We'll be bringing you coverage of those season openers. Tarnation TV's got the Charlotte Motor Speedway.
What a jump for
The
Jeremy
Airway 8
Jeffries right
series.
there. He was ready for that restart.
But was that too good of a restart? As look at the distance he was able to open up.
Sitting
That's
duck
going to allow them to
territory.
get a big run on him.
Never want to be that far out in front at Talladega. Those cars behind him are going to try and do what they can to catch up to him. There might have been a little bit of a bump between the 22 and the 24. Greg
Oh, we're
Palmer
4
and
wide,
Joe
guys.
Spirito. Oh, Lord.
For a moment we were. That was McClure, Mallon, Hewlick, and Lamas that were in that 4 wide formation.
And we've seen how 3 wide doesn't really work. Or at least, and if it does, it doesn't get you very far because it just makes the inside lane the best lane to be in at that point. And I think
can't
the 23 just forced his way up into the 3rd lane, and that just lost all of the momentum.
3 wide doesn't work. I can't imagine 4 wide being any much more help.
Oh, Rod
Oh,
Weston
Rod
got a
was
little
really
loose
trying
there
to
in the
slide
middle.
behind the 6, yeah, that was close.
And we talk about Jeremy Jeffries, what a victory could do for him here tonight. What about for the guy right behind him? Has led the most laps this evening. He's going into Thursday nights as the defending champion of the Talladega Challenge Series. Joe DeSpirito would love to bridge in between a championship season and a run for another title with a victory here tonight in the special
4
event.
wide behind them.
It's at 7 cars, nose to tail, and then 3 and 4 wide from 8th place on back.
Yeah, these guys back here are not going to go anywhere.
Speaking of Spirito, let's also not forget he won his qualifying race earlier tonight. Oh, there's a move.
Denny
The 6
Carroll,
to the
good.
bottom. Denny Carroll with the block. He's going to try and get momentum. Might have made contact. I believe it was Rodney Solon just ahead of him.
Now the top 4 single file, 5th place on back, double wide. That 3 wide actually kind of worked for Tyler Mallon and Chuck McClure. They're about to crack up into the top 10. Jessica Lorley right behind them, Doug Hewlick. So they did gain some ground.
Gonna get 2 to go this time by. Everybody's being very, very patient at the front. I feel like the patience is about to run out. Gotta start making a move at some point, or you're gonna let Jeremy Jeffries win this thing.
In a non-points race on the line, I definitely don't see cars just riding this one out like you
Denny
would
Carroll's
in
making
Tally Challenge.
Denny Carroll's making a lot of progress on that inside line. He's got
Oh,
Bob
here we
Seminara
go.
behind him. Here comes
DeSpirito
DeSpirito.
low with Metallic. Sullen's looking high with Brian Rawson. Where does Jeremy block? He's stuck in the middle.
Couldn't get the block in time. Now gonna be boxed in. Might not lose that much momentum.
Hang on to it, guys.
So you still got about 300 yards. Like, you probably got another 1,000 feet to the start-finish line.
Oh, Metallic.
Oh, Metallic.
Almost got put down below the yellow line. He's going to get to the inside. No help. White flag in the air. 2.66 miles to get
Now
the checkers.
This is frustrating if you're the 41 because he needs to make the move low, but he didn't have enough room. Now he'll have the run.
If he cuts down now, he'd have to do it like right when he gets the run, otherwise the 24 can block. And there
Carroll
he
to
goes.
the inside.
DeSpirito can't
gonna
block.
Stay with DeSpirito.
41's not really going to have a lot of help.
Oh, boy.
My gosh.
3 wide for second.
that's all the
DeSpirito's got
24.
decisions to make. Metallic.
Metallic.
Saves it.
Sandoval.
Sandoval's around. McClure's around.
Oh, that was a
Caution's out.
big
It's not gonna
wreck.
matter.
DeSpirito's got this.
Does he?
I don't know.
Too far out in
Seminara's
front.
got
I
to
was
run
gonna
to the
say.
outside. He's got Jeffries.
He's got a big push.
Yeah, you're not gonna be able to do it. He
Jeremy's
just
going to get
lost it right
loose.
there.
Oh,
And to the line, it's going to be Joe DeSpirito picking up the victory as sparks and smoke behind him. 3 separate wrecks from turn 3 back to the start-finish line. But a driver who led 25 of the 47 laps tonight leads the all-important final one. Joe DeSpirito is the 2026 Bones 00300 winner.
and 2 checkered flags for him in one day. Won his qualifying heat race earlier tonight. Now picks up the checkered flag in the main event. A couple of guys making, I guess, a little bit more aggressive moves than we're used to. But then again, it's Talladega.
I was going to say, we fully expected it.
Yeah, and especially with this being a special event race, too. There's no points on the line. It's the checkered flag of the steering wheel, and that was certainly the mentality of a lot of these guys exiting this race. So, congratulations to Joe DeSpirito.
And here comes what's left of the 4 car to come up and say congratulations.
Yeah, Brian Schilling, who was the other heat winner in heat number 1. Banged up on the sides, on the back. He was caught up in one of those wrecks there on the final lap. And there you see Sean Prime, last year's winner, seemingly passing the torch over to this year's winner of this special memorial event. And for the second time here tonight, Joe DeSpirito is going to pull right down alongside of that tribute logo that John Godfrey perfectly placed from the exit of the tri-oval to the start-finish line.
He's not going to be the only one.
The reverse burnouts begin for driver 24 as he takes not only his qualifying heat, but the main event.
Everybody lining up that logo. We saw this last year, and what a moment it was, and we're going to repeat of it this year.
I remember when we ended up getting the heartbreaking news about David Cannon, it was on a Wednesday in the span of 24 hours. That Thursday, prior to an RTG Talladega Challenge race, the organization, we ended up seeing it, Kyle. They ended up all gathering around the David Cannon Memorial logo that's now transpired into featuring not only his logo, but multiple others here in the RTG Enter 2003 racing community. Just kind of takes you back.
Yeah, this is going to be for a nice screenshot of that they took one last year of them doing this, and we're doing it once again this year. Just a very touching tribute here.
Mentioned all those names, you see them there. David Cannon, Robbie Nisus, Dano Wiley Coate, Rusty Little, Fred Hill, Preston Boone, all featured prominently there.
This is the lasting image, I think, that'll stick with a lot of people throughout this race and the short history, the short tradition that it's already been building up as all these drivers gathering around this list of names. It seems to be kind of the tradition, and yeah, it's just that moment of togetherness. It just shows that we are all one big family here, and great job by everybody here at RTG to put this race on, and seeing the tribute now being put on by these drivers at the end once again.
Yeah, we saw all those moves in the closing stages, and you can see a number of these drivers, some with clean cars, some with battered machines, chassis that certainly won't carry over into following races, but it's one of those type of races that has the gravitas behind it that you saw on that final lap. Drivers were willing to put absolutely everything on the line, knowing what this race was all about, what the meaning behind it was. You said it. Moves that we more than likely are not going to necessarily see during the upcoming Thursday night races with points on the line, playoff spots on the line, big picture racing. There was no need for big picture racing here this evening. This was the opportunity here tonight for drivers to give 110% there on that final lap for every position that was in front of them. And this is the way they all cross the start-finish line. We're going to be talking with our podium finishers here in just a few moments, but Joe DeSpirito gets the victory. Bob Seminara will bring it home in second. Denny Carroll, who we saw kind of get shuffled back, able to fight his way back up to the front to finish third. Tyler Mallon, solid run in 4th. Brian Rawson, who started out back, he'll finish 5th. Greg Palmer, we saw him in a wreck off of turn 2. No caution came out for that. He'll finish in 6th with Josh Metallic 7th, Jessica Loreley 8th, Bobby Farrell 9th, and Grant Wesley in the 10th position. In all honesty, in this type of a race, finishing position doesn't really matter all that much for these drivers. I think it's just the opportunity, the privilege of being able to take part in this event. And of course, as well, now look ahead towards
boy, it's
2027.
It's a good thing this race ended when it did. Joe DeSpirito is out of gas.
Is he really?
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
They're trying to
Wow.
get him to do a burnout
Oh
here.
my goodness.
That explains why we didn't get a very lengthy reverse burnout there out of him. Well, you know what? That's what happens when you lead 25 laps. You don't get the fuel mileage to do burnouts, I guess.
Yeah, you're using a lot out of the
Right there. I
car as
believe that's,
well.
I believe
Is that
that's Sean
Prime?
right behind him.
That is
Assisted
Prime.
burnouts.
Bob Seminara right there, Jessica Loreley all trying to get it to where Joe can do a little bit more of a burnout here in the celebration, but
Well, what a night here at Talladega. What an event. 2nd year in a row. It has not disappointed. And what a thrilling finish here in this main event as well. We had those 2 caution-free heat races to set the field for this one. Saw maybe a couple of the biggest wrecks we've ever seen here at Talladega Superspeedway. Certainly saw John Godfrey maybe hit the highest peak we've ever seen for a driver taking flight over in the corners, middle of 3 and 4. A thrilling finish here tonight that saw them 3 wide, about 3 rows deep, but all in the rearview mirror of tonight's race winner, Joe DeSpirito.
looks like they've abandoned the attempted burnout here for DeSpirito. Just going to teleport to victory lane.
And we will be dialing him up in Victory Circle, where he was earlier tonight after his heat race, in just a moment. But that takes us into our FRM post-race wind down. So let's see if we can get a hold of the other drivers that also finished up on the podium tonight. Let's dial up 3rd place finisher Denny Carroll.
User was moved to your
Hey,
channel.
Denny, it's the guys up here in the FRM booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Wow, what a race here tonight. We knew that was going to have a big fight feel. Memorial race here this evening that puts that little extra meaning behind it. You had a dogfight here in the final 10 or so laps of this race. At one point, we saw you in the sucker hole going backwards outside of the top 15, able to charge hard up through the field, bring it home in the 3rd position, almost in the conversation there to maybe if things went south with the race leader, maybe able to take this victory. Describe that here tonight. That must have been quite a workout there to fight your way back up there to the front.
When I made that move off of turn 2, and when I went under the 24, the 39 wasn't close enough to me, and that hurt me. I believe if he'd have been a little closer, I might have been able to pull that one out.
Yeah, we saw you be able to have that momentum to make that move. Obviously, I think safe to assume here tonight, for you and a lot of other drivers, we were treated to that thrilling finish, but no points on the line here this evening. A tribute memorial race, one that everybody wants to be able to win. Did that also kind of play into that move? Maybe a move that, if we're talking points racing or a playoff spot, that maybe you don't necessarily make?
No. I race the same whether it's for points or not. That's why sometimes it hurts me in points races. But, if you stay in line and don't make a move, you don't win.
It's a great point. We also understood that at the timing of that last caution, you guys were pretty close on fuel. Where exactly were you in terms of fuel strategy? When did you know that you could pretty much start pushing, had enough to be able to get yourself to the checkered flag?
When that last caution come out, I think me along with it fixed it. But I wanted that trophy, so I drove a lot more aggressive than sometimes I usually do. But I would have sure liked to have that trophy.
Well, had a tremendous run here tonight, as mentioned in the closing stages, able to fight your way back up through the field. made that move for the race win, ultimately still bring it home solidly in the 3rd position. Congratulations on a well put together race here tonight, Denny. Before we let you go, floor is yours for thank you, sponsors, and shoutouts.
Yeah, thank you guys. Man, I won the pole in that qualifying race. I believe that's the first super speedway pole I've ever got, and it was in that black sheep car Rodney painted. Man, those things was fast. I should have kept it. Thanks, guys. I just thank everybody here for letting me race with them, and it's a really good cause. And I'm sure a lot of these guys miss a lot of their fallen brothers they got on their banners out there. And I just pray for everybody, and I hope we all get to race together as long as we can.
Well, that's Denny Carroll. Great run here tonight in the 2nd annual Bones 00300. 3rd place here at Talladega Superspeedway. Congratulations on the great run, and hey, maybe this gives you some good momentum for the start of Season 6 now, the Talladega Challenge Series this next Thursday night, so best of luck there.
All righty, fellas. I'm going to go wax my car up and get it ready.
There you go. That's Denny Carroll. 3rd place here tonight. It was
User
an
was
all
moved out of your
Chevrolet
channel.
podium this evening. Let's see if we can now dial up the driver of the 712 that brought it home 2nd place tonight, Bob Seminara.
User was moved to your channel.
Hey, Bob, it's the guys up here in the FRM booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, what's going on, boys?
Well, man, I'll tell you what. It seemed like here tonight the motto was, if it's spinning, if it's wrecked, keep going because you never know what could happen. We saw this car spun around through the tri-oval. A lot of drivers able to avoid it. He kind of lost a lot of track position, but able to gain it back there in the closing stages. Had your hands full there on those final couple of laps, too. I think you were in a 3-wide formation on 2 occasions of those final 3 laps. Had a shot maybe to make a move on Joe to pick up this victory, but how difficult was it to kind of manage offense and defense on that final run to the checkers?
Yeah, how'd you like that one? Yeah, I had to recover from that wreck, and yeah, I did. Was lucky not to hit the wall, no damage. Came back through, had some good help with Rawson and Rod, 3rd lane, and yeah, we got up there. Had that late caution, which helped. The fuel was real tight. We were going to be short, so that helped there. And then it just got crazy, and I was on the bottom, and there was a 3rd lane, and yeah, almost looked like 4 wide there from my angle, and then yeah, it was close. I think Jeremy was trying to push me there. I think he might have bumper hooked off, or I might have edged Joe out. That was real close. That was fun.
Yeah, that's what I was just about to ask you there. We saw you get that run off a turn 4. It looked like the momentum was definitely with you. You had Jeremy there as your wingman. If he had been able to stay to your bumper, were you kind of able to gauge the run? Do you think you would have been able to just barely, maybe by a splitter, get Joe at the line? Or do you think that you needed just a little bit more racetrack with the momentum you had?
I think we might have got him. He was a little disconnected with Denny. Denny tried the bottom lane, and I didn't go with him. And then, of course, Rodney was going for the win. He was up there in the 3rd lane. And, yeah, Jeremy was giving me a good push, and I didn't know if he'd stay with me or not. But I thought we could have got him. But it was fun.
Obviously, here tonight, no points on the line, no championship. It'll be an entirely different story when you guys take the green flag next Thursday night to kick off the new season of the Talladega Challenge Series. With that being said, we mentioned here this evening that more than likely, just about everybody that took the green flag tonight was going to, when the pay window started opening, have that bring home the steering wheel or bring home the trophy mentality. With yourself maybe making moves that you necessarily wouldn't make in a points-paying race and others around you doing the same thing, how much more difficult does it make decision-making on when to make moves? And as you were kind of talking about, if you make that move, will you have drafting help in the rearview mirror?
Yeah, well, my sponsor, Quentin, he tells me I'm better when I'm loose. So I won the other night, Saturday night, a trophy race. And, yeah, no points, nothing, just a memorial race that I'm excited to be in. So, yeah, I was just going for it loose, didn't worry about nothing. Checkers or wreckers.
Well, a great run for you here tonight. Maybe building some good momentum for the start of that Talladega Challenge Series next Thursday as well. Made it exciting here at the end. Just came up a little bit short of taking the checkered flag, but a great run in 2nd place here tonight, especially after getting involved in a scuffle or two middle of this race. Congratulations on a solid outing here this evening in the Bones 00300. Before we let you go, Bob, floor is yours for thank you, sponsors, and shout-outs.
Thank you, Seth, and FRN, or you guys up there. Yeah, such an major race for us. All the fallen guys, that have done so much for us. And so I'm happy to be on the podium. Congrats to Joe. Just thank Sean and Jeremy and all the admins, Josh and Timmy and Rodney and Rodney's Paints, all those guys that put a lot into this. It's the best. RTG is the best place. Just for my deal, Bernie's Paints, Mob's Motors, Shadows on Fire on Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, Q and Katie and LC and Diana and we'll, next season, my other nickname besides Biscuits is Bobby69. So giddy up.
Well, there you go. Maybe little home field advantage for you, I guess, in that season number coming up here for the Talladega Challenge Series. But congratulations on the solid run here tonight, runner-up in this special memorial race, and congratulations on a solid outing on this Thursday evening.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And let's go down to Victory Lane.
User
Second
was
time
moved
that
out
we're
of your
dialing him up
channel.
in Victory Lane. The first time, he brought it home with the second heat race victory, the qualifier. Now he takes the big one, the main event. Let's dial up Joe DeSpirito.
User was moved to your
Hey,
channel.
Joe, it's the guys up here in the FRM booth. You got a copy again.
Hey guys, what's up?
Well, we talked to you earlier on tonight. You took home the checkered flag in that heat race. This main event, though, you had to work a little bit harder for it. Had them double wide, 3 wide in the rearview mirror. Got Seminara alongside of you through the tri-oval. Now, he says if Jeremy had been able to stay committed to him, he might have been able to get you at the line. You obviously had a bird's eye view as well of that momentum. Do you think you had enough racetrack there to hold him off? And when he lost that drafting help, was that maybe the difference maker?
Yeah, it would have. We probably would have been side by side if him and Jeremy didn't clip there. But I saw that third lane kind of form in the tri-oval, and we were kind of talking to each other, and I kind of felt I had it there. But coming out of 4 before that third lane formed, I thought he was going to have a run and he was going to pass me. So there was a bunch of hypotheticals on what could have happened there, and I'm glad we just finished 1-2. That was awesome.
A lot of times we talk about in super speedway racing, it's not necessarily where you qualify, it's where you finish. But here tonight, it almost looked like qualifying well played a big part into you being able to take this checkered flag. Starting the outside of the front row, led a race high 25 laps, and maybe more importantly, ahead of 2 massive wrecks that took place happening in your rearview mirror. Just how much do you attribute that qualifying effort to you being able to stay out in front for the majority of this race, ultimately bring it home P1?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. That's one of my early reasons for success in RTG was when we qualified every night, and I would be, I was a pretty good qualifier, so either it was usually top 5, top 3, top 5, and I'd like to stay up front and try to lead as many laps as possible. And you miss a lot of the wrecks up there, and now that we do Lotto on Thursday, it's a little difficult and makes it a little more challenging. But that qualifying lap was a big help.
When we had the Tally Challenge All-Star race in between seasons 67 to 68, we kind of looked at that race as a possibility of who could be bringing some momentum into the new 68th season. Here tonight, no different. No points race on the line, no championship up for grabs, but certainly some momentum can be built going into season 69. You go into that season the defending champion from season 68, so I got to assume the confidence level was already high. Just how much higher is it taking this checkered flag tonight, 1 week removed from the brand new season?
Yeah, again, it was just saw that relief from winning the title kind of freeze things up for me. And I didn't make any crazy moves tonight, but the wheel was loose tonight compared to points racing on Thursday night. So that was a difference, I would say.
Well, Joe, a great night for you, not only taking home the victory in your qualifying heat, but qualifying well and bringing it home, P1 in the main event here this evening, the second annual Bones 00300. We gave you the opportunity earlier on tonight, but we're going to do it once again here for you in Victory Lane, give you the opportunity for thank you, sponsors, and shout-outs.
Thanks, guys. I want to thank Prime and all the admins for putting this on, man. This yearly annual memorial race is something to look forward to every year. And it was another great, pretty clean race for the most part. And I'm again looking forward to it till next year. Again, I talked about it in my other interview. Bones, was one of my biggest cheerleaders. Even though he was racing against me, I could tell he was side by side supporting me. And I always say he was one of my biggest helps starting here at RTG. Him and all the fallen drivers, always remember them. So, through the usual, thank RTG, FRN, Tarnation TV, Race LM, Sullins Paints, Mobs Motors, Old City Fly Shop, my sponsor. Everybody watching at home, Uncle T, LC, Dan, and my work buddies. And I'll be at Daytona Saturday night representing all you guys. So thank you.
That's Joe DeSpirito, your winner here tonight of the second annual Bones 00300 from Talladega. Congratulations once again, and best of luck next Thursday night in the start of the brand new season of the Talladega Challenge Series.
Thanks, guys. Good night.
What an incredible race here tonight. We
User
knew it was going to
moved out of
be.
your
I
channel.
mean, we were not in any way, in any doubt that we were going to be in for a snooze fest tonight. We know that when these drivers get out on the racetrack that we are going to be in for a heck of an event. And we heard from all three drivers racing a little bit looser here tonight. And I think that just made it all the more exciting because these drivers, they kind of had that nothing to lose mentality. They knew that there was everything to gain. We saw some incredible moves, both offensively and defensively. A photo finish here tonight that ended up ultimately coming down to who had enough fuel in the tank, possibly. Just a little bit of everything here in tonight's Memorial Special event.
Yeah, what more could you ask for? I mean, just like you mentioned, we got a little bit of everything in just a 47-lap race. We normally go 66 laps whenever we race here at the RTG's version of Talladega. So, makes me excited for the season to start up next week.
Yeah, it just makes me excited in general for all these seasons to start up as well. People are really, just able to make something out of anything in this series. And as you said, a few laps shorter than we're used to on Thursday nights. But at the end of the day, these drivers put on our show. And again, we said it all day. I'll say it one more time. It was the bring home the checkered flag or bring home the steering wheel mentality. No points on the line, no big picture racing to worry about. Just wanting to be known as the winner of this race. And it sounds like we talked about it a couple times. It sounds like that we will be running this back next year. So obviously we don't want the lists of drivers that we're memorializing to get any bigger, but at the end of the day, it is a good thing to see all of these members of this community coming together to celebrate their lives and race in their memory. And tonight was a really, really great show.
Yeah, very special event. Sorry to interrupt you there, Seth.
Go ahead.
Very special event. I was honored to be a part of the broadcast for this thing last year and honored again to be a part of it this year.
Yeah, we absolutely appreciate RTG bringing us on board to be able to call this event in back-to-back years. Shout out to the drivers here tonight for putting on 3 incredible events, the 2 qualifiers and the main event race. The admins doing a great job with the organization of the transferring over from the heats into the main event race as well. And of course, as well, we mentioned it, but it bears repeating. Tremendous credit and thanks to Sean Prime for what he put in as far as the effort of getting this whole thing put together, not only in terms of the drivers themselves, but for helping us be able to have things a lot smoother here on the broadcast side with all the information that we needed and whatnot. So big thank you to him as well. We thank everybody for tuning in to our coverage here tonight. Saw a lot of interaction in the chat. Really appreciate it. Hope you guys enjoyed our product here tonight. And for one final time, the list of drivers that we were given here: Brian Freeman, William Bill Townsend, Mike Scott, Larry Yeager Sr., Robbie the Bandit Nisus, Rusty Little, Dan Yeager, Fred Hill, Ed Bauman, Preston Rook Boone, Wiley Ron Coyote, Bob Dixon, and David Cannon. Rest in peace and ride on. For Kyle Matthews, Michael Norman, Jack Mitchell, I'm Seth Cole. We thank you for spending this Thursday evening with us. Next week, the brand new 69th season kicks off. We'll be having coverage here on FRN Monday night with the Bare Bones Racing Series at Gateway, Tuesday night with the iRacing Series at Darlington, and simulcasting with Tarnation TV on Thursday for the Talladega Challenge Series. Tarnation will have the call at Atlanta Motor Speedway on Wednesday night as a brand new season dawns here at Rolling Thunder Gaming. But thank you once again for tuning our coverage here tonight. Joe DeSpirito is your winner of the second annual Bones 00300 at Talladega. You've been watching another broadcast courtesy of FRN, the Flatout Racing Network.
This broadcast is the copyrighted work of Flatout Racing Network and may not be rebroadcast, retranslated, or used in any form without the express written consent of Flatout Racing Network and iRacing.com Motorsports Simulations. Flatout Racing Network would like to thank you for your support, and we hope you enjoyed tonight's broadcast.